Why? Stop. Hello. Uh-oh. I don't know how to get back to the other thing. Oops. Oops. I did it again. I fucked with my screen. Got lost in the game. Oh, baby, baby. Who you think I'm in love? All right, hold on. I'm glad. Oh, hi, Easily. I just have to make sure my mic is fixed. Good morning, Badger, Badger, Badger. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good morning. I had insomnia and I stayed up late fighting with a stupid chud in a chat because I had insomnia and I couldn't sleep. So I just stayed on YouTube, which was a bad idea always. It's always a bad idea. Clay, good morning. Good morning to my gal squad sister. How are you, Clayberg? I love you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And that's not a love bomb. I really love you. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm a little sleepy because I didn't get enough sleep and I was probably too mean to a chud. I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I'm an old school troll. I'm an old school troll. And that's just how it's going to be. Good morning, Neil. Bonjour. You haven't slept in years? Oh, Clayberg. Yes, Lee. Dun 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 dun. I'm so happy. I hope you have a really good day off. Really good day off. I hope you're good. You can never be too mean to a judge. Well, see, that's what I believe too. I had the wrong set on. I believe that too. I don't think you can. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. What if we just watch cartoons all day? No, I'm kidding. What if we get really high and just watch cartoons? How do you feel about that? No, not for you. Okay, I understand. Yeah, have an old chud wake to go to. Oh, family of chuds, I'll be in and out fast. Oh, easily. Well, it's kind of you to come to the funeral. That's really big of you, actually. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry for their loss. I'm sorry for their loss. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Badger, I love you. Hell yeah. Hey, man, you don't want me to be mean to you? Don't be a chud. Don't be a chud. That's all. I'll be listening from the road soon. I'm in for the cartoons. Flashback to my college days. No, unfortunately, Lee, what you're going to be listening to this morning is a lot of Stephen Mirren. I'm so sorry. But he's kind of like a cartoon character. He kind of is. He kind of is. I swear to God, Lee, by one of these days, I've got to get the sound ready so that you can come on voice and tell us what's what. I'm so sorry. That's so frustrating not to be able to have guests on easily. I've got to figure this out. Oh my gosh, 95 with 25 grandchildren and 10 great grandchildren. That's a big family. 25 grandchildren. Jesus Christ. If you had a fair number of children, I guess it's easy. But that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids. That is a lot of kids. So good morning. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I am your hostess, Lolo. This is Wake and Bake with Lolo, special edition on Fridays these days. I heard Greer is handling most of the negotiations. Sure. Are they doing rock, paper, scissors? I can't wait. They all complain and are loud. Great. That's a crowd. Yeah, that is definitely a crowd. Oh, Jane, good morning, darling. How are you? How are you? I think I went to bed at like 2. I don't really remember. Because at one point I just signed off. I'm like, this is dumb. I can't. I'm not fighting with stupid. So then I went to bed. Well, I won't say that. I'm a terrible. I give in to these things way more often than I wish I would. So it's a me problem. I know how toxic I am to pretty much everyone in this on these streets. Who's Chud like? Who's Chud like? Not the normal people. Your title says twice baked. Oh shit. Val. I'm not baked at all yet. Damn it. I'm gonna be though. Let me tell you. I'm ready to hear how fucked our financials are. Well, I don't know if I have a good. At least I have a lot of information that I curated for today. So hopefully I'll process it in a way that makes sense. That's always my fear. Getting the information is one thing. Making sure that you present it in a way that makes sense to anybody, that's a whole other kettle of fish. Yes, it is. So today we're going to start off with a little reading. I think I'm going to go through as much as I can of the rest of the Mar-a-Lago document itself. And that's really just in terms of having a foundation for some of these ideas. And I don't claim that this president is, or this admin, if you will. I don't really know. I think one of the great mysteries for me is I'm not really. Oh, I am looking. Oh, that's right. George Santos is getting sentenced today, by the way. Thank you, Clay. That's right. I forgot. I heard about that this morning when I got up. Yeah, no, we're gonna get through as much of the Mar-a-Lago document as possible, and then I do have quite a few clips. One of them is kind of long, but it's really it's really hearing 1 year in the van this week. Oh my God, Val, we need to celebrate. Oh, I celebrate you. I really do. I celebrate you, darling. Oh, thanks for being with us during the day. I really feel like super, super grateful. He's pardoned? Wait, is he pardoned? No, he's not pardoned, right? They wouldn't pardon him, would they? I can't believe that. Congratulations, Val. That's wonderful. What an achievement. I'm so proud. I really look up to you. You're really like my big sister. Well, you're not older than me, but you're really like my big sister. He will be, yeah. I guess so. And then let's see. Oh, and then I've got some bookmarks. I've got some other articles around the economy that I'd like to read to you. We'll see how far we get through those. But we are going to start. First, I'm going to just like chill for a minute because I'm really tired. I thought I'd like. Well, actually, I guess we could start with some videos then. I can do that. Smoke. We could do that. Why don't we do that? We'll start. We'll flip it. Flip the script. Let me get my bearings, and then we're going to play. I want to make sure I don't miss any like. Oh, and then today Dump is going to Italy for the Pope's funeral. And I hear the Pope is going to get up and tell him to get the fuck out of here. That's what I heard. Through the grapevine. Through the afterlife grapevine. I don't know why they include me on their signal chat. But that's what I hear the plan is. Don't tell Pete Hegseth. Sorry. I mean, the jokes are going to be bad because I'm really tired. No, that's not true. I mean, they will be really bad. And I am really tired. Wait a minute. Aw, I'm 72. And yeah, Trumpy would pardon Santos. I guess he would. God, that's really dumb. That is so dumb. Let's see if there's anything on the George Santos yet. Oh, the birdies are out. I'm going to be quiet and see if you can hear the birds. Boom. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? It's all about Karen Reed. It's all Karen Reed all the time. I suppose there's a lot of people that are interested in that case. Probably most of which is all the people involved in it. Oh, here we go. Wait, what's this? See, they just show out the build. They show the building. That's so boring. Who cares about the building? The wake I'm going to is Sunday. They didn't want to interfere with the Pope funeral. That made me laugh. Well, hey, take your gravitas where you can get it. I guess I don't know. That's fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. Yeah, they didn't want to compete with that. Anyone can see. His funeral looks a lot like an Easter service. I'm just saying. They all look alike. But this one ain't gonna rise. No, I'm just kidding. I actually was a fan of Pope Francis. Like I dig Jesuits. I think Jesuits are probably among the best in terms of like Catholics. I mean, I don't mean, well, I guess I do mean to be a little disparaging. I grew up in a Catholic family, which was a very nice Catholic family because oh gosh, love you, Val. Lolo, your wake and bake is a big part of my van life mornings. I scrounge for coffee, drinking content when you're not here. Oh, I love you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that, Val. You don't know. That's my dream to be the background. To be a welcome background in the lives of others is pretty nice. So thank you for that. But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying, but it's okay because it probably wasn't important, and it'll come back. I mean, it'll come back. But yeah, no, I dig the Jesuits. I think the Jesuits are okay. They're a lot my mom was a real Catholic, but she had definite pro choice and pro LGBTQ plus views, very deeply held in each case. So she allowed those to, yeah, right, Val. She allowed those beliefs to be able to exist with her Catholic upbringing and devout belief. Really, I mean, down to fucking. She was a educated nurse, very intelligent, and also held some very deeply held and long held beliefs around creationism and other things, and the potential of God, blah blah blah. So all that, I had a lot of respect for my mother in that regard. She never shoved anything down our throats, when in fact she felt very strongly about religion in many ways, but she never made it anybody else's issue. And I really love her for that. She would tease us if we went to Methodist church, like later in life. She would make fun of, like, I can't believe you're not going to a Catholic church. But in kind of partly jest, I think, because she didn't really care that much. And she really, I don't know, she just she loved people more than she loved her religion, which I think was an important factor in that. Yeah, a Jesuit priest was my best teacher. I can understand that, man. And just the humility around a Jesuit approach. I mean, obviously, the Catholic Church and other organized religions, as I said yesterday, is problematic in and of itself because it was written by men, and all religions were written and documented by men. And to that end, it's not real. Why in the world should I believe what a bunch of men decided was the right thing to do or believe? No, that's not how it works. So I can't get past that. And for other reasons, the Gospels were written by Mary Magdalene. Okay. Okay. What about the Nicene Council? Didn't they decide what was in and what was out? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I know. I've heard that. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. I can't believe the Nicene Council would allow that to happen or go forward, but maybe it's true. Moved to Louisiana right before Christmas. Went to a Southern Baptist church for Christmas message. Merry Christmas, you're going to hell. Merry Christmas. The little baby Jesus was born in the stable. And you all are sick in your heart, living in sin. Yeah. Jane. I know. Jane's like, yeah, I know. Okay. Let me see what we have inside of this. Oh no, don't. I don't want you to go there. Why do you just go there? Oh no. Let me see if there's anything in this playlist. No. Oh, I did want to play this. Oh. La 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 la. No. Okay, no. Oh, let's check the headlines. Actually, that's a good idea. Let me check the headlines. Gal, do you have a bunch of stuff queued up or should I send shit? I do have a bunch of stuff queued up. But if there's anything really important, urgent, definitely share it. I don't want you to go to a lot of trouble though. I do have some stuff to get through with the Financial Fridays. But I'm always open because you bring great things to the Wake and Bake. Gal is the Wake and Bake hero. La, 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 la. La. Butterflies! Telling my dad about the Southern Baptist Mass, you could hear him spitting out his beer and laughing. That's funny. Oh, wait, here we go. Open side panel. La 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 la. Oh wait, that doesn't go there. La 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 la. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff to read. Did you start FFFs? Wait, fuck Financial Fridays. I'm just about to start it. Butterflies, no worry, you are right on time. Read the quoted tweet question. That's why I'm curious. What I'm curious about. Oh, okay. Ooh, I would love that. Ooh. Yeah, I'm just chilling because I went to bed at like 2 a.m. And I think, I don't know if it was 1:30. No, it was probably 2 a.m. Maybe it was 1:30. I don't know. Anyway, somewhere around there. I didn't get much sleep. So, I'm taking it slow this morning because I'm not fucking, the McNeil Lehrer report over here. Okay? It's Wake and Bake with Lolo. All right? And if McNeil Lehrer were out there getting high and staying up too late, then it would be fine. I would be McNeil Lehrer, but I'm not. Okay, here we go. Na, 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 na. What? Okay. this this looks good. Hold on. Oh. Wah wah wah. La 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 la. Scoobily doo bally doo bally doo. Sorry. I think I'm a little loopy. Okay, let me close these bookmarks. This is from Gal Suburban, yeah. Read the quote tweeted question. The quote tweeted question. Wait, I'm so confused. Is this where I'm supposed to wait, what? The Bidens are going to attend the funeral? Good for them. The meme. Oh wait, what am I doing? What? What's the matter? What? What? Was there a question in here? Yes, the quoted comment. Oh, okay. I'll hook you up to a fucking polygraph. Okay, well, let me read this and then hopefully I'll make sense of it. You guys are amazing. I'm so slow. Okay. So, word leaked he was planning a classified briefing for Elon Musk on China, a revelation that raised alarms inside the Pentagon given Musk's business ties to Beijing. Wait, Elmo arranged, or excuse me, Hegseth arranged, Pig's Breath arranged for that thing? I'll hook you up to a fucking polygraph, Pig's Breath shouted at Admiral Christopher Grady, then acting chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What? The question is, why was Hegseth so pissed about the Elon Chinese briefing being leaked that he fired him? Word had leaked that he was planning a classified briefing, a revelation that infuriated President Trump and raised alarms inside the Pentagon, given Musk. So that's okay. He fired like 5 of his own guys. Yeah, I know. Like, how about we look at Hegseth to bear live wires? How about we hook him up? Why don't we put his nipples and hook them up to a thing? Yeah, why? Why was okay, so here's wait, gal. Wait a minute. Here's my question. Okay. I do kind of wonder, why would Trump give a shit if Elon, I think I do, but let me get up to you. Let me catch up to you. And so why was Trump upset at all that Musk would get a briefing? Butterflies, you and me are both exhausted, so welcome. Why would Trump be upset if Elmo got a briefing on China? I never understood that. I understood the Pentagon people, but why? Word leaked that he was planning a classified briefing for Elon, given Musk's business ties. I'll hook you up to a fucking polygraph. Why would he say that to the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Oh, because he's okay. So, oh my God. All right. And Christopher Grady was fired. Right. So Hegseth was obviously mad he got caught doing it and was mad about the leakers because he thinks the leak. We'll see. Now, we can't assume that Pig's Breath is smart enough to be upset about the right things. I think he's only smart enough to be mad when it looks like it's going to get him in trouble. And he's constantly in trouble because people leak. So I could see Hegseth, Pig's Breath, being upset about the leaks, right? It makes him look bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, wet brain. Hey, Max. But why was Trump mad? And Elon, since that time, has pulled away from the in your face kind of stuff. And of course, now there's the rumors, oh, he's gonna step back or something like that. Yeah, Jane has a point. Trump's mad they went around him. Plus, he should have the most info. Elon's mad he didn't get the briefing. Hegseth is mad for various reasons. I would imagine all of those. A dry drunk. But why did Hegseth fire the guys he brought? Now that I don't know. That is a very, very, very interesting question. Pig's Breath demanded proof that Grady hadn't leaked the news of the March 21 briefing. What? How do you prove that? How do you prove that? I wonder if Elon or Trump gave him an ultimatum. You go, they go, or you go kind of. Well, I actually think that the firings would make more sense if he made those decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's trying to deflect Hegseth. I think Pig's Breath is trying to deflect from responsibility for all of the failures. I mean, he's just so fucking ham-handed. There is no way. This is like putting a toddler in charge of the Department of Defense. Why is he so pissed about this particular leak? Well, I mean, I can imagine that there's probably some nefarious reasons. I don't know if, like, I think, yeah, why does Pig's Breath look like an idiot all the time? I think, I mean, this one made him look pretty bad. But I don't know why Trump got upset. Like, why would Trump give a shit? Is he just jealous of Elon? Is it that basic? That he doesn't want Elon getting special treatment beyond what he gives him? And Max says, despite their sobriety, a dry drunk typically continues to behave in a destructive ways. Interesting. It's interesting to me, but then again, if you read the thread, you can see Hegseth is paranoid as fuck, which wouldn't be unusual. I mean, but you're right. Why did he do that? Why did he set up the briefing? Why did he set up the briefing to begin with? Why? Just to get on Elmo's good side? Oh, Pootie doesn't like it. Yeah. All right. This is okay. So, 5. Let me make sure. Great question. Why was he so angry that Elon didn't get to see the war plans with China? Great question. Secretary Drunk, he could have demanded the briefing. You're right. That's a good point, Neil. What's that? Imposter syndrome? I think they all have that. I'm pretty sure. All right. Secretary Drunk fired a group of dudes he brought with him over the leak about the story that Elon Musk was getting a full U.S.-China military war plan briefing at the Pentagon. These guys weren't fired for the signal debacle. I think people are conflating the multiple catastrophic security breaches. I think you're right. Jim. It was just a tourist visit, Jim. Oh, wait. We got nothing. We got another one here. Let's see. Pepper. I love our friends. Our friends are so smart. Okay, now let's keep going with this. Paranoid is not a good Tina. I love Tina. Her fucking humor is so great. Paranoid is not a good place for SecDef. Hegseth, pig's breath anxiety. Sorry, I keep having to do that. Only intensified after leaks of Musk's briefing, fueled by revelations he brought his wife to meetings and shared info about U.S. strikes in Yemen on a second signal chat that included his wife, brother, and lawyer. Resigned traitor, yes. Oh, my God. Fueled by a string of new revelations that the White House asked the Pentagon to develop military options for the Panama Canal, and that he shared sensitive information about strikes in Yemen on his second signal chat. Pig's Breath has become increasingly concerned about how Trump is perceiving the situation and the possibility of being fired. I think he doesn't want to be fired because he's going to be embarrassed that he's so stupid. I really do. I mean, I think he's that simple. I don't think he's very Machiavellian. I think he's a little more blunt force trauma. He has spent hours on the phone shoring up support outside the Pentagon and was late to multiple meetings during his first trip to the Asia-Pacific region. On his end, Hegseth has become increasingly concerned. Concerned about how Trump is perceiving the situation. He's losing it. Quote, as you may have noticed, the media likes to call it chaos, Pig's Breath said of the Pentagon turmoil in a speech at the U.S. Army War College in Pennsylvania on Wednesday. We call it overdue. What? This guy's so dumb. So he's just scapegoating his own guys to save himself. Makes some sense. Probably that simple. I don't know, though, gal. The whole thing, I go back to the actual offer of sharing sensitive information with Elon and doing that outside of Trump's knowledge. There's something there. Like, why did Trump get upset? I just don't understand. Unless it's just a pure ass jealousy of Elon. Good morning, Teresa. How are you? Hi, sister. Love you, T. Oh, it's a great T. Threatened by career military professionals. He quickly let go of several longtime support staff for top Pentagon leaders down to the seasoned scheduler in the front office. He fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chief of naval ops, and several generals and admirals without saying why. I think he did that because he doesn't know why he's firing them. He's that stupid and that malleable. Maybe Trump knows they plan to replace him by Vance, oust him 25th if they can. Maybe. I don't know. That's a good point. I'm going to grab the Elon China Leak article. Maybe there's something in there. Let's do it. And then I can get to Fuck Fin. And believe me, the Fuck Financial Fridays isn't going anywhere. We're just doing some deep dive right now. Clump, jealous of world's. Nah, I know. See, that's the thing. Well, no. I don't think it's I don't think it's about I think it's about the attention Elon gets. I think it's about the media. Gal, please, you don't ever have to be sorry. Are you kidding me? I'm so grateful. I think it's very curious. Why is everybody so upset? And why aren't they just doing what if they cut it off at Pete Pig's Breath and brought in some other clown? All the news cycle would move on. Think about that. If they cut ties with Pig's Breath today, that would be the news cycle. And by Saturday or Sunday, when they, appoint someone new like Mike Flynn or whoever, I don't know, whoever they're going to appoint for Secretary of Defense, I think then the news cycle would move right the hell on. But no. I mean, it's kind of dumb. If you're a risk management specialist for like, spin doctors kind of thing. Yeah, if he admitted it, acknowledged it was a mistake and not be combative, they'd move on. Yeah, that too. I mean, actually. So it's kind of interesting that they don't just cauterize the wound. You know what I mean? Pig's Breath is down to clown and looks the way Trump wants him to look and says idiotic things on TV. Jane, that's true. I mean, he really is like the perfect stooge for that role. I mean, in some ways, although he's so fucking leaky, he's so like inept. It would have been better for them to bring in someone at least with some management skills and some time in the spotlight of that. Yeah, his role. But see, you can't, right, Gal? As the Secretary of Defense, you actually can't just look and speak the part because you do have to do more. It's not just a figurehead. But now Hegseth has fired all the strategy and advisory guys. That is so curious. So curious. Polygraph threats, leaks, and infighting. The chaos inside Hegseth's Pentagon. That's a Wall Street Journal W. It's a Wall Street Journal. Ooh, lots of reasons for Musk on China. Someone should leak the reason. Tina. The Everything app. Elon Musk wants X to be a WeChat for the West. Oh, God, from 2023. Tina, do you know how much we love you? If you're not following Tina, please do, because she's really smart and her threads are really good. Please, she's an amazing member of the Gal Squad and a friend. I mean, really just friend. We're just a bunch of friends. But yeah, so smart. All right, let me go to this other article that Gal shared with us. Yes. No, I don't want to give anything up. This is from March 20th of this year. Musk wouldn't want him to go. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Teresa, tell me what you mean. Okay, we're going to get into this from March. Pentagon set up briefing for Musk on potential war with China. The access would be a major expansion of Elon Musk's government role and highlight his conflicts of interest. Maybe that's the only reason Dump was upset. Although, Dump doesn't seem to care about anybody else making a fool of themselves or doing stupid shit with information. And someone said earlier, I'm so sorry, I missed some comments up here. Damn it, I think I missed it. Someone had a question. Let me see if I can find it. What is that? Yeah. It may take psychological work to change nuts just beyond not drinking. I mean, I can't imagine being an alcoholic, getting a big job, and then deciding that you are then, uh, going to get sober or whatever. He's not sober, first of all. I can't imagine. He doesn't seem like the type to be able to do that. He seems pretty weak, frankly. Not weak. Okay, that didn't make any sense. He seems like someone who is still, who could not stop drinking on a dime for a job. Now, maybe if the motivation was something more than a job, he would be able to find that deep inspiration to stop drinking overnight. But as somebody who did try to stop drinking and drank for 21 years, after a little bit of therapy and, one or two AA meetings, I did decide to stop. I don't know what made me decide to stop that day, but it took at least 3 years of very hardcore work to get to that point where it actually stopped. So I guess as a drunk, as a former drunk, I'm 20 years sober, by the way, this year. April 1st, 2025 was my 20 years of sobriety from alcohol. Whoop, whoop. I do smoke weed, but that's all I do. And I'm happy about it. But I guess what I'm saying is I feel like I know where someone might be at mentally when it comes to an addiction. And then you get a big job and they tell you not to do your addiction anymore. Oh, wow. That sounds like a recipe for success. Not. So I think I quit on April Fool's. It wasn't that. So hi, Paul J. How you doing, darling? Thank you. Thank you. So I feel like he has not stopped drinking. I would not put money on him having stopped drinking. He just doesn't seem like someone who was like, I'm going to stop drinking. He just doesn't seem like that person. He's there because he got a big job and a big paycheck, and he gets to be on TV, and he probably gets to fuck a lot of women overseas when his wife isn't there. Okay? I think that's what he does. And now he's in a little too deep, which is why he has to lash out. A wounded animal lashes out. I think he's wounded. Yeah, okay. So the process of quitting smoking, to me, I've never had to quit like smoking cigarettes because I've never picked up cigarettes. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think that is absolutely harder to stop than alcohol. I don't know. Which is why she goes everywhere with him. Hey, no, never mind. Didn't he raise a cocktail at the podium as a fuck you to the confirmation process? Did he really do that? I just don't remember. I don't remember. I could see him doing that. Quitting smoking is hard. Oh, yeah, definitely. If anyone can do it, gal can. Okay. Another official said the briefing, this is again from March. Another official said the briefing would be China-focused without providing additional details. A fourth official confirmed Mr. Musk was to be at the Pentagon on Friday, but offered no details. My mom smoked my whole life, so trying to quit for my people. Oh, baby love. I'm with you. Girl, it's a journey. You got this. Do what you need to do. Calculating how much you need to function without going overboard is not easy. Thank you, Paul J. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. I bet you he's only thinking about his drinking at this point. I don't know. Well, I don't know. What do I know? I don't know anything. Yeah, you can do it. All right. Hours after news of the planned meeting was published by the New York Times, Pentagon officials in dump denied that the session would be about military plans involving China. China will not even be mentioned or discussed in a China briefing. Wait, what? It was not clear if the briefing for Mr. Musk would go ahead as originally planned, but providing Mr. Musk access to some of the nation's most closely guarded military secrets would be a dramatic expansion of his already extensive role as an advisor to Mr. Dump and leader of his effort to slash spending and purge the government of people and policies they oppose. Well, he did. It would also bring into sharp relief the questions about Mr. Musk's conflicts of interest, as he ranges widely across the federal bureaucracy while continuing to run businesses that are major government contractors. In this case, Mr. Musk, the billionaire chief executive of both SpaceX and Tesla and XAI, is a leading supplier to the Pentagon and has extensive financial interests in China. Pentagon war plans, known in military jargon as O plans or operational plans, are among the military's most closely guarded secrets. If a foreign country were to learn how the United States planned to fight a war against them, it could reinforce its defenses and address its weaknesses, making the plans far less likely to succeed. The top secret briefing that exists for the China war plan has about 20 to 30 slides. Oh boy, they actually know a little bit about it, that lay out how the United States would fight such a conflict. It covers the plan, beginning with the indications and warning of a threat from China to various options on what Chinese targets to hit over what time period that would be presented to Mr. Dump for decisions, according to officials with knowledge of the plan. Holy shit. That's a lot. I know, Val, it's you can't. I mean, if somebody can, I'd love to see it. I still don't think any of the firings have confirmed who leaked this. That's interesting. I wonder. A White House spokesman did not respond to an email seeking comment about the purpose of the visit or how it came about, whether Mr. Trump was aware of it, and whether the visit raises questions of conflicts of interest. The White House has not said whether Mr. Dump signed a conflicts of interest waiver for Mr. Musk. Really? Do you think? Do you think he did? I don't think he did. Paper, what's that? The chief Pentagon spokesman, Sean Parnell. Oh, God. Sean is an idiot, by the way. Sean Parnell. If you've ever seen a Department of Defense briefing, it's like they got that guy from Barstool Sports. It's like incels. It's like horrible incels. One of the people fired was his chief of staff. Are his people turning on him? Or he is paranoid? Oh my God. Soon after the Times published this article on Thursday evening, Mr. Parnell gave a short statement. The Defense Department is excited to welcome Elon Musk to the Pentagon on Friday. He was invited by Pig's Breath and is just visiting. An hour later, Sean Parnell's such a dick. Posted a message on his X account. This is 100% fake news. Oh, God. Just brazenly and maliciously wrong. Elon Musk is a patriot. We are proud to have him at the Pentagon. Plus, he's going to take me out and get me some pussy later on. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also commented on X late Thursday saying this is not a meeting about top secret China war plans. Who told you that? It's an informal meeting about innovation, efficiencies, and smarter production. Gonna be great. Roughly 30 minutes after that social media post, the Wall Street Journal confirmed that Mr. Musk had been scheduled to be briefed on the war planning in China, or for China. In his own post on social media early Friday. Oh my God, it's governance through tweet. Mr. Musk said he looked forward to the prosecutions of those at the Pentagon who are, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing anymore. I don't know what. Hi, Bob. How you doing? Yeah, prices are up. Thanks, Trump. Thanks, Obama. Whatever the meeting will now be about, the planning reflected the extraordinary dual role played by Mr. Musk, who's both the world's wealthiest man and has been given broad authority. Well, there's Pig's Breath now. Mr. Musk has a security clearance. God knows why. And Mr. Pig's Breath can determine who has a need to know about the plan. Well, that's the initial problem. Pig's Breath is saying he's referring people for criminal prosecution. Oh. Is he trying to just make yeah, it feels like Elon. Maybe he's just trying to kiss up to men he really wants to be when he grows up. I mean, he wants to engineer all his kids to be male. Okay? Come on now. He's got 17,000 children. Pig's Breath Admiral Christopher Grady, the acting chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Samuel Paparo, the head of the military's Indo-Pacific Command, were set to present with Mr. Musk with details on the U.S. plan to counter China in the event of a military conflict between the two countries. The meeting had been set to be held not in Mr. Pig's Breath office, where an informal discussion about innovation would most likely take place, but in the tank, a secure conference room in the Pentagon, typically used for high-level meetings or members of the Joint Chiefs, their senior staff, and visiting combatant commanders. Operational plans for major contingencies like a war with China are extremely difficult for people without extensive military planning experience to understand. That would be the Secretary of Defense then. The technical nature is why presidents are typically presented with the broad contours of a plan rather than the actual details of the documents. Makes sense. How many details Mr. Musk had wanted or expected to hear was unclear. Pig's Breath received part of the China war plan briefing last week and another part on Wednesday, according to officials familiar with the plan. It was unclear what the impetus was for providing Mr. Musk such a sensitive briefing. He is not in the military chain of command, nor is he an official advisor to Mr. Trump on military matters involving China. But there is a possible reason Mr. Musk might have needed to know aspects of the war plan. Boop, boop. If Mr. Musk and his team of cost cutters from the doggy thing want to trim the Pentagon budget in a responsible way, they may need to know what weapons systems. Okay. Yeah, that's, are you making excuses for him now? Take aircraft carriers. Cutting back on future aircraft carriers would save billions of dollars, money that could be spent on drones. Yeah. Using the savings from, yeah. Planning. Okay, I'm not reading that. Okay, whatever. Mothballing existing ships or stopping production on future ships could cripple that plan. Planning for a war with China has dominated Pentagon thinking for decades, well before a possible confrontation with Beijing became more conventional wisdom on Capitol Hill. The United States has built its air forces, Navy and Space forces, and even more recently, its Marines and Army forces with a possible fight against China in mind. Critics have said the military has invested too much in big, expensive... Okay, I'm not going to go through all that. Mr. Musk has already called for the Pentagon to stop buying certain high-priced items like F-35 fighter jets manufactured by one of his space launch competitors, Lockheed Martin. A program that costs the Pentagon more than $12 billion a year. Do you think it's that he wanted to also see what the weapons plans are to do? No, it's fine. I'm actually really grateful, gal. No, never apologize, please. I have time. This is an organic show. Okay, it's like totally organic. I could see where he wants information on his competitors and all that kind of stuff. And I could also see where he's, dealing in information, right? Couldn't you see that? I wasn't pissed. Anyway, sorry, looking at something else. Anyway, oh my God. Yeah. I could see a lot of reasons where he would want that briefing and want that information. But I just wonder, why would Dump be so pissed? Like, what in the hell would he care? Wait, Bob, 2015 Honda Civic, now 160. Get out of here. Oh my God. I'm not. Anyway, sorry. So I am curious, and Gal, you think there's some more. The guys he fired were advisors to him during his Senate confirmation hearing. They knew everything. So that is, and they're already talking, right? That Politico article. Wait, where was that guy from? Oh man, I'm getting all my whistleblowers mixed up. But there was probably a bunch of, I don't know. It's a mess. I mean, as indicated by that Politico essay or whatever, that opinion essay on Sunday, it's a mess. And what a weakness, if you're into that thing, what a weakness of, boy, is it hear the whistleblower. We got to protect those whistleblowers too, by the way. That's ridiculous. They leaked the second Signal chat and yesterday's leak. I mean, and there's probably gonna be more. There's probably gonna be more. It's crazy. All right. Anyway, thank you for that, gal. I don't mind at all. Are you kidding me? Let me get teed up the Mar-a-Lago restructuring global trade. Yeah. Is that page 1? Oh my God, did it keep the page we were on? I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You guys, it kept the place where we stopped in the fucking Mar-a-Lago Accord. One last quickie. Okay, hold on. I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on. I got time. It's multiplying. uh, okay, wait, where am I going? I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm going here. We live in different realities. Due process now. Thank you. Also, I'm doodling words about this regime. Give me words used to describe it. Draft, doodle, and signal. Wait, what? W. Baldlaw is going to be busy this year. Who's that? W. Badelaw? What's that, Jane? Is that a firm that's getting, it's doing all the whistleblower stuff? They must be, huh? Okay. There should be a DOD, but wait a minute. There is an OIG. Oh, into Musk. There is, whistleblower aid. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for that, Jane. I think we've gone to that website before, if I'm not mistaken. The other thing is, what was I going to say? What did you say? Oh, there is an OIG investigation on the Signal chat with the acting OIG. Do we know who the acting OIG at the Department of Defense is? I don't know. That's the thing. Is he or she, are they independent? Are they independent? I don't even know. So people speak legally. It is mortifying. It really is. Okay, so let me, oh my God. This is depressing, is what this is. All right. Trump's immigration ratings turn negative post ABC Ipsos poll finds. Americans roughly split on sending undocumented immigrants to a Salvadoran prison without a court hearing. Do you support or oppose each of the following? Sending undocumented immigrants who are suspected of being members of a criminal group to a prison in El Salvador without a court hearing. Support, no comment, and oppose. All U.S. adults, 47% support that. Really? Really? 15% of Democrats support that? Did they understand the fucking question? 82% of Republicans support this? Is that real? Are they really this angry? Independents? Oh, is that like all the libertarians too? So they're kind of MAGA in their ways. They're probably socially MAGA. Some of them, not everybody, but in terms of like an influence in that group. But I am surprised about that. I would have thought independents would have been a little less. All right. Washington Post, ABC News, Ipsos poll of 2,464 U.S. adults with an error margin of 1 plus or minus 2 percentage points. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Depressing, but interesting. Depressing, but interesting. All right. Let me smoke a joint and then I'll read to you. Close my ear. Oh, wait. I want to read one more thing. Let's see. How long is this? Let me see how. Oh, it's pretty. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. I'm going to read this really short story. Okay. Hold on. This was from March 21st. Oh, so he hasn't really done anything. Hold on. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I'm showing you what I'm looking at. Elon Musk threatens leakers after report on secret China briefing. Musk is pissed after a New York Times report revealed his top secret Pentagon briefing. After the New York Times reported on Thursday that Elon Musk, this is March 21st, remember, that Elon Musk would be getting secret Pentagon briefing, blah, 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 the tech oligarch was livid. Musk posted about the article on his X account early on Friday, including a screenshot of President Dump criticizing the article in his post and calling the Times pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. Also, I look forward to the prosecutions of those at the Pentagon who are leaking maliciously false information to the NYT. Musk threatened they will be found. But then he fell in a ketamine hole and nobody has seen him since. There you go. Jim is 100%. Oh, cool. I posted a few pics of my yard in Discord. Spring has sprung. Yay. Oh, nice, Paul. Thanks. I look forward to seeing some spring photos. The Times article in question infuriated the president, who rejected the report and claimed that while Musk was scheduled to visit the Pentagon Friday, China wasn't on the agenda. The Times said incorrectly that Elon Musk is going to the Pentagon tomorrow to be briefed on any potential war with China. How ridiculous. China will not even be mentioned or discussed. Boo. How disgraceful. But I thought we were talking about innovation. Oh, DODOIG is Stebbins. Is that a former congressman? Is that who that is? I don't know. How ridiculous. China will not even be mentioned. How disgraceful it is that discredited media can make up such lies. Anyway, the story is completely untrue, Trump posted on Truth Social. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell and Defense Secretary Pete Bigsbreath also denied the report, with Parnell saying Musk was just visiting the Pentagon. That's all. But it really caused a big stir. But after their denials, the Wall Street Journal corroborated the Times reporting. Musk has many business interests in China and depends on the Chinese market for his companies. A red flag for someone with a security clearance and billions of dollars in U.S. government contracts. On top of that, Musk is the world's richest person and wields tremendous power. Remember when he wasn't the richest person? I do. All right. He's been there but moved up. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Teresa. I just wondered. I wondered how independent the independent guy is. Anyway, so that's all. My nose is running. My nose is running this morning. My nose is running this morning. Okay. Okay, so I'm glad to have closed that loop because I just wanted to take care of that before we move on to fucked Financial Fridays. Where's my weed? Where's my weed? Where's my weed? Where's my weed? I am going to. Should I start with something where I can? Let me see. Let me see. Do 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 do. Okay, you know what I think I'm going to start with? I'm going to warm us up a little bit, actually. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Instead of jumping into the second half of Mar-a-Lago Accord, and in the interest of getting some smoke on, I'm going to play one of the clips I wanted to play. And this one's a little long, but it introduces you to the man that created the some of the economic destruction. At least might have been inspired by this guy, Stephen Mirren, who is the chief economic advisor to the president. So he does have a role in this administration. Oh, God damn it. That is not it. That is not it. Oh, my fucking God. Stop it. Okay, I'm not sure. This is kind of weird. I haven't watched this video. Oh, I think it's one of these AI ones. God damn it. Oh, I kind of wanted. Okay, I'm gonna actually. I'm gonna play this because I want to hear what it says about Stephen Mirren. I think this is one of those goddamn. I might not like this. Okay, I might change this, okay? But bear with me. Because now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of weird and scary. I don't know. I'm going to not do that. Okay, wait, hold on.
Right, this came out just last November, and Miran, well, he brings...
Stephen Miran's a user's
Okay, this is one of those
guide to
stupid AI
restructuring
ones.
The global trading system.
Right, this came out just last November, and Miran, well, he brings a pretty unique perspective. Former senior
is there
strategist
Chinese
at Hudson Bay
right?
Capital, now chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors.
So that mix of like high-level policy and real
Oh
market
no, cars go
Precisely,
do
it
go
makes
boom
his
in Moscow.
analysis,
You're right.
particularly
Hi,
worth digging into.
Absolutely. So our mission today is basically to pull out the most important insights from his look at how a potential second Trump administration might tackle global trade and finance.
Yeah, he explores
Why
tools like
is there
tariffs,
so much
currency policy.
background
It's kind of a
music?
playbook.
And he sets up this core tension right at the start, doesn't he?
He really does. It's this constant push-pull. On one hand, the dollar is persistently overvalued because it's the world's reserve currency.
Which hurts American manufacturing.
Right. But on the other hand, that reserve status gives the U.S. massive geopolitical leverage, financial power.
I don't want
And
my
this tension
nobody get
really shapes the
radicalized by
whole
this,
discussion
okay?
about solutions.
Okay, let's unpack that dollar dominance first. He talks about a Triffin world. What's that
Okay,
about?
you know what? I'm sorry. That music is so fucking distracting to me. I can't even watch it. Okay, hold on. There's others. Believe me. Hold on. They can't all be winners. Oh,
The
shit.
president is meeting with the prime minister.
No, that's not what I wanted. I want you to go to my watch later. Boop, boop, boop. Oh. Let me, wait. Okay, I'll come back to that. I love the music. Too late, Lolo. I'm going out to hug a Tesla. Damn it. All right, wait, hold on. Okay, let's see. Where can I go that will be normal? Let's see. Hold on. I just have so many Stephen Miran clips. No. Oh, actually, no, I want to stay with Stephen Miran. Okay, this is Stephen Miran 2 weeks ago. Wait, dude, CIA deputy director's son killed while fighting for Russia? In Ukraine? What? What? Say what now? Who's the CIA deputy director again? Son of CIA deputy director joined Russian army and was killed in the war in Ukraine. Holy shit. What the fuck's going on? A young American who called himself an anti-fascist and criticized the U.S. military-industrial complex died fighting for Russia. Michael Gloss, the 21-year-old son of a CIA deputy director, was killed in April 2024. April 2024? Or 2025? What? No, that's today. Gloss was the son of Julianne Galina Gloss. Galina? That's a fucking... Okay, never mind. That's a Russian name, but okay. It's fine. I mean, just because it walks like a duck and talks like a duck. Galina Gloss, who serves as CIA Deputy Director for Digital Innovation, and Larry Gloss, a U.S. Navy veteran who participated in Operation Desert Storm. According to documents reviewed by the publication, Michael signed a contract with the Russian military in September 2023. It's just coming out now, yeah. Okay, well, I don't mean to be mean or anything, but this bitch needs to go. Like, what the fuck? Oh, I guess he did die in 2024. Weird. Before joining the Russian forces, Gloss had been traveling the world after leaving the College of the Atlantic in Maine, where he studied human ecology. His friends described him as an environmental activist and anti-fascist. Well, he wasn't an anti-fascist because he didn't understand who the fuck he was fighting for, so he was a fucking idiot. Period. Yet again, didn't understand the way the world actually works and gave his life for the same, and in fact worse, craven military industrial complex. Losers. I can't with these people. I think I'm just too old. His friends described, okay, blah, blah, blah. There he was, flipping off. He was very angry at America. He started thinking about going to Russia. He wanted to fight against the USA. The young American arrived in Russia in August 2023, posting a selfie from Vladikavkaz with the message, "Guys, I'm in Russia. How'd I get here? You got on a plane." He visited several Russian cities before his visa was set to expire on the 5th of September. Russian Border Service data shows on that day, Gloss appeared at a recruitment center in Moscow that processed foreign volunteers for military service. He was assigned to the 137th Airborne Regiment in Ryazan. A Russian soldier who served with Gloss said he was a staunch supporter of Russia and loved it. I love Russia too, but I don't fight for Putin. Other friends claimed Gloss joined the Russian army to obtain Russian citizenship more quickly. My goal in life, well, you got it, babes. My goal in life is to build infrastructure for oxidizing water in a supercritical state, to end environmental pollution and related diseases and deaths, Gloss had reportedly told one friend, explaining that Russian citizenship would help him achieve this goal. Gloss was killed on April 4th of 2024, likely during a Russian offensive near Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine. His family held a funeral in Fairfax County near Washington, D.C. in December 2024, 8 months after his death. Yeah, Jackson Hinkle. Yeah, he's like that. Yeah. Yeah, fighting for a fascist state, but okay. You couldn't, I think you could go to another country near Russia and probably access what you needed for your ecological whatever. I don't know, whatever. I'm done with assholes. I'm done with assholes. Yes. Yes. All right. I want to see. Let's see. Which one are we going to do? Okay, this is from Deutsche Welt about how Trump's economic plans stop in the name of love. Before you break my heart, think it over. Oh, wait, Jim had something. Think it over. I forgot to pull up Jim's thing. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. Wait, let me just pull this up. Let me. A message for Robert Kennedy Jr. about his eugenics program for autistic kids. He hired a guy named David Geyer to run it, a quack who defrauded parents into giving their children Lupron, which is used in chemical castration. Keep your hands off our kids.
Kids on a registry.
Oh,
RFK
Jim!
Jr. wants to put autistic kids on a registry. He hired a guy named David Geyer who did experiments on autistic kids with a drug called Lupron that chemically castrates them. His grandfather, Joe, who he greatly admires, had an intellectually disabled daughter named Rosemary. Joe had her lobotomized, and when it didn't cure her, he locked her away for 60 years. RFK Jr. appears to be executing a program of eugenics. Is RFK Jr. going to take all the kids on this registry and put them on Lupron so that they won't reproduce? RFK Jr. was seen putting methylene blue in his drink, something that literally turns your brain blue, because he heard something about it on the internet, apparently. Parents, everyone, we need to rise up as a neurodiverse person. The idea that someone like RFK Jr. is going to put our kids on a list needs to be the step too far. It's enough. These Nazis need to keep their hands off our kids.
That's right. You're right, Jim. Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, ASON appalled by hiring of quack David Geyer for HHS study. Article that Jim references. Oh my God. In case you missed it, I can't believe we're still not talking about the fact that our chief medical officer is turning himself into Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka while he plans which of our kids to eliminate. Oh shit. All right. I'm going to put these links in the let me I want to open yours, Gal, cuz I want to make sure I put it in the end description. Who the fuck is Jackson Hinkle? September 2022. I'm going to link this in the description and you can read it, but boy, if there's a Russian asset, someone probably has a post or two about them. Yikes. All right. Okay, let's listen to the very brilliant people at DW News, Deutsche Welt, and see what they have to say about, that thing we were going to talk about, fucked Financial Fridays. They're still fucked. They're still fucked. I guess that's the crunchy pipeline, right, Jane? He was on that kid was on the crunchy pipeline.
Members of Donald Trump's economic
Here we go.
team are pushing for a total reorganization of the international financial system. The so-called Mar-a-Lago Accord, named after the president's resort in Florida, aims to tilt the international economy in favor of the United States. As part of the scheme, the White House will reclassify trading partners into friends and enemies and deliberately devalue the US dollar.
This is Mar-a-Lago, the Florida resort where Donald Trump spends many weekends, often with high-profile guests and senior administration officials, now lending its name to a bold and potentially destabilizing economic plan. The plan aims to devalue the U.S. dollar, a symbol of American financial might. But, according to Donald Trump's economic team, the dollar is too strong. Too many countries want to hold dollars in reserve. And that, according to the White House team, creates a lot of problems. A strong dollar makes imports cheaper for U.S. customers and makes U.S. exports more expensive. The White House sees that as hurting U.S. manufacturing, hollowing out the working class and making the country more dependent on others, rather than making things at home in the USA. Then there's the U.S. national debt, well over $30 trillion. The annual interest payments are more than the military budget. China and other countries sell a lot more goods in the U.S. than they import. Then they invest in U.S. debt, driving up the dollar even more. So how do Trump's economists want to fix this? With what's being called the Mar-a-Lago Accord. A framework's been suggested by Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and the head of Trump's Economic Advisory Council. The idea is to convince other countries to help weaken the dollar and to trade in their U.S. debt holdings for 100-year bonds. The U.S. would pay way less interest on its debt. This isn't something most countries would see as being in their self-interest. So how do you convince other countries to act against their financial interests? Bessent has suggested dividing countries into 3 categories: green for friendly nations, red for unfriendly ones, and yellow for those in the middle. green countries would receive military protection and tariff relief. Those that don't play along will have high tariffs and no military aid, explicitly linking America's military might to its financial power, making other countries literally pay for protection.
It's extortion.
One major
That's
risk
what
is that
Lolo
more and
calls
more
it.
countries might turn to China or other nations for trade deals and military stability, rather than pay the price to stay friends with the U.S. It's also hard to tell if Trump, who often seems to change his mind and reverse course, announcing tariffs and then pausing them, will stick with any policy for long. But the so-called Mar-a-Lago Accords do point to a method behind what can otherwise look like a series of impulsive decisions.
Jessie Yin is an assistant director at the Atlantic Council's Geoeconomic Centre. She recently wrote an article about this issue for the Atlantic Council called "Meeting in Mar-a-Lago, Is a New Currency Deal Plausible?" Welcome to DW. So should we be viewing the Trump administration's changed military priorities and widespread use of tariffs through the lens of this Mar-a-Lago Accord? Is this the Trump administration getting its ducks in a row?
That's certainly one way to look at it, and it's really a debate in DC right now about whether these tactics will be feasible in trying to get a weaker US dollar. So the Mar-a-Lago Accord is also a play on the Plaza Accord from 1985, where West Germany, France, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the US came together to intentionally devalue the US dollar.
And how did that work out?
So these countries did come to a currency agreement to devalue the US dollar, especially against the Japanese yen. Something that we at the Geoeconomic Center kind of identified in our article is that the countries that signed onto this agreement and that held these large trade deficits with the US have very different incentives in 1985 than the countries that currently hold large trade deficits with the US, like China, Mexico, and Vietnam. In 1985, the US was providing the security guarantee for these countries. Meanwhile, countries like China, Mexico, and Vietnam don't have the same incentives to sign on to a currency agreement. And that's where some of Trump's advisors have come in with this idea of tariffs as a way to bring countries to the negotiation table.
And is this actively being considered in the White House?
I think we kind of have to wait and see how far they can sort of push this along. A lot of these concepts come from a report that Stephen Miran, who is part of Trump's circle of advisors right now, put out last year in September. But we're going to have to sort of wait and see whether the Trump administration moves forward in exactly this way.
And can you answer the question you raised in your article? Is a new currency deal plausible?
It would be very difficult. And one sticking point is China. China's a much bigger player in the global economy nowadays than it was in 1985. It holds the largest trade deficit with the US. And the sort of lingering impression of the Plaza Accord in China is a cautionary tale. A lot of people believe that the appreciation of the Japanese yen against the US dollar led to the bursting of the Japanese asset bubble and the sort of slow lagging economic growth that Japan has had since the 90s. So in that way, with China's own economy sort of slowing down, they don't feel incentivized to really appreciate the renminbi in any meaningful way.
OK, so if China, as you say, one of the biggest holders of US debt, if they say, no, we're not interested, how big a hole does that put in the president's plan?
I believe that it would put quite a big hole in his plan. The sort of continued and intentional devaluation of the US dollar would bring sort of domestic economic instability as well as destabilizing the global trade system. It would be very difficult to sort of sustain that.
This does seem like an odd plan from a president who, during his first term, kept accusing China of manipulating its currency. Now it looks as though that's exactly what Donald Trump wants to do.
It's hard to say whether this will actually get pushed through, but the idea around a strong dollar versus a weak dollar, a lot of it does come down to these trade deficits. But President Trump has also said that he doesn't want to give up the dominance of the dollar within reserves. So there are a few different crossroads of purposes here.
So, if this Mar-a-Lago Accord
I wish people would
happens,
just say it's a stupid
how
thing
does it
and he's
affect
wrong.
countries whose currencies are tied to the dollar? And as we've mentioned, those who bought American debt. Do they just bystanders to this?
Especially if the Trump administration goes the way of implementing more tariffs and tries to go through this unilaterally, a lot of countries would just sort of have to accept how the dollar moves in the market.
And how does it then affect their economies? I'm looking for the sort of the ripple effect of this.
I mean, it would be largely destabilizing. If we look at the historical comparison, after the countries in the Plaza Accord sort of agreed to devalue the US dollar, they eventually gave it up a few years later. Okay. And G7 countries have sort of agreement since mid-2010s to not engage in these sort of currency agreements anymore.
And if this happened, would it work? Would it bring more jobs to the United States?
Global trading system and supply chains are a lot more intertangled now than they were. So similar to the question of will tariffs bring U.S. Jobs back in manufacturing, it's more of a wait and see, I would say.
Okay, thanks for that. Jessie Yin from the Atlantic Council, thank you so much.
All right. You know, sometimes I'm like, why can't they just say, and maybe that's why they can't, why can't they just say, no, it looks likely that this is going to be a real shit show. But I guess they can't. When was that? Let me see when that was. I just want to. That was 3 weeks ago. So that I just played was 3 weeks ago. So think about what might have transpired in those 3 weeks. I also noticed that they have teed up a car bomb, kills high-ranking Russian general. So that I think I should probably, let me play that.
Breaking news, authorities in Moscow say a senior Russian general,
2 hours ago,
Moskalik, has been killed in a car bomb close to the capital. Images posted on social media showed a car ablaze outside a block of flats in a residential area of Moscow. Investigators said that an improvised explosive device was used to cause maximum harm and that a murder probe has been opened.
Oh, dogs.
For more, we're now joined by DW's Russia analyst, Konstantin cked. Konstantin, what's the latest on the attack that killed this Russian general?
Well, of course, it's too early to give any details, but I can tell you that this happened, the explosion happened not exactly in Moscow. It is a city which is called Balashikha, and which is not far from Moscow. It's like a satellite city to Moscow. It's well known for a significant concentration of military and retired military people living there. And it seems that General Moskalik lived exactly in a building which housed a lot of military and former military personnel. What we also know is that he was deputy chief of the operations department of the Russian General Staff. And that's a very, very important position in Russian military thinking.
Sometimes people reap what they sow, Jane.
Strategy and tactics is a very vital link in making any kind of military operations flexible. And in light of the war that Russia wages against Ukraine, Moskalik was certainly indispensable in his role. And he was promoted to lieutenant general by Putin around about a year, probably a year and a half ago. And this is a significant position, which, of course, opens significant career perspectives for him. Now that he's dead, Of course, suspicion falls on the Ukrainian secret services, but as we do know, they never confirm. They never
of course,
confirm
Jane. Yeah.
what they did, although it is clear that such kind of operation probably was, of course, the work of the Ukrainians.
Now, Steve Witkoff,
Oh, really?
Washington's special envoy, has
How'd they
met
get in
Vladimir
there?
Putin in Moscow today. Do you think the timing of this attack was deliberate or merely a coincidence?
I think that it is definitely a signal, Gerhard. With the Trump administration essentially demanding concessions only from one side, from Ukraine.
Look at that fucking real estate agent. Look at that fucking short real estate agent asshole.
No, we're not going to bend. No, we continue our war against Russia. And moreover, the hint is not even subtle. The Ukrainian leadership, by doing that, is saying we can carry this war inside Russia through sabotage, essentially. In a
Is that really?
more
I mean,
way. That's why personally.
I guess I don't.
Now, what can we expect to come
seems less
out of
likely
these negotiations between
that
Putin and
is-
Witkoff?
Sorry.
Well, look, I mean, so far what we've seen is Steve Witkoff essentially taking down notes, writing down Putin's wishes, and then delivering them to Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump presenting it as a significant sort of feat of diplomacy. So why expect anything else in such circumstances? Putin is clearly plying the White House. He clearly is not ready to stop, to even cease fire, not even stop the military operations. He thinks that he can pressure the White House for more and see how far he can push the Americans.
DW's Russia analyst,
Art of the
Konstantin
deal.
Eggert there. Thank you very much, Konstantin.
Thank you, Constantine. All right. Sorry about that. I just wanted to hit that one since it was a current news story. Now we have the details on our friends and enemies. Let me go back to what I was gonna go to. Let's see. We did that. Oh, but let's talk about 17 hours ago, since we just talked about China. Let's talk about this. Wait, sorry, I gotta go back. Here we go.
When it comes to why
it's
Ladies.
ushered in unease
Ladies.
for American consumers.
Everybody stop.
Trump in the you-know-where. If the price of eggs propelled Donald Trump to victory in November, then his man-made economic instability,
Lisa!
which has rattled
Matt
markets
Gates.
and ushered in unease
Oh,
for
really?
American consumers, may very well be his political undoing. A
I think
wave
that's
of
a
new
job.
polls show
Wait,
that both
I gotta
Donald
stop
Trump's
this.
approval
Wait, Lisa, Matt Gaetz having a rally April 27th at 1 p.m. in West Hollywood at North Robinson in Santa Monica. Well, guess what I'm going to be at? Let's see. When is April 20? Wait, what's today? The 25th, 26th, 20. This Sunday? This Sunday? Okay. I'm on it, Lisa. I'm on it, Lisa. I'll confirm it. Don't worry. In West Hollywood. I'll confirm it. Don't you worry. I'm on it. Thank you. Thank you for that heads up. That's a good one. Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, strap in, Maddie. Okay, gal, if you're still listening, we need to come up with some good sign messages for Maddie Gates. Maybe rat poison enters the signage, because Botox is rat poison. So you could make like that. Yeah. Yeah, no. West Hollywood. Yeah, that's fine. No, this is great. Even if it's North Hollywood, I don't care where it is. North Hollywood. No worries. I'm going to I'll go anywhere. I'll find that mother. I'll find it. Dinosaur. Wait, where's the dinosaur song? I wonder if I have the dinosaur song. Hold on just a minute. Do I have the dinosaur song on here? Anybody remember that? Do you guys remember the dinosaur song? Do you remember that? Maybe? Is it? No, that's not it. All right. Well, I'm going to dig out that dinosaur song. Penis pulls in Red Bill. Yeah. Oh, now I'm excited. I'm so excited. I was wondering where I was going to go this weekend. Now I have it. Oh. Well, feel free to drop any ideas for signs in the Discordio. I'll take them. I'll take all the brilliance in this room. Are you kidding me? All day long and twice on Tuesdays. All right. But, China says, I love you. You love me. All right. This is China's Hold My Beer from 17 hours ago, given what we just watched about the chance or the likelihood of China coming to. It's Tuesday? No, it's not. Wait, what? Clark. I'm like, Clark, come on now. I'm too high and tired for that. That's the Dino song I know. Oh, I love you. You love me. Oh, the Barney one. No. I have one. I have a good one. I'll get it. Don't worry. Before the end of the show, I'll play it. All right, here we go. This is what China said to Dump about 17 hours ago. Anything could have changed in the last 17 hours, but this is where we were then.
Ratings and voters' opinions of his handling of the economy are today in free fall. The New York Times average of polls shows this, quote, Trump's approval rating has sunk to about 45%. That's down from 52% 1 week after he took office. Voters' views of his handling of the economy are even lower than his overall approval rating. A Fox News poll out last night puts his approval on the economy at 38%. As for his handling of inflation and tariffs, just 33% of Americans approve of that. And for the first time since the year 2001, a majority of Americans say their personal finances are getting worse. So, see, it turns out the more voters see of Donald Trump's man-made chaos, the less they like it. And there is a lot of chaos. As the New York Times reports on major economic decisions, Trump blinks and then blinks again. As we reported on this show yesterday, Donald Trump threatened to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, then changed his mind and backed off that threat. After slapping so-called reciprocal tariffs on every country and every island in the world, even those inhabited only by penguins, he reversed himself on that and announced a pause on those, too. As for China, which is subject to a 145% tariff, Trump says, well, now they're negotiating. Watch.
We are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing.
The Chinese government says no, not active. Quote, China and the U.S. have not engaged in any consultations or negotiations regarding tariffs, let alone reached an agreement, end quote. Adding that while China is open to talks, quote, if it's a fight, we will fight till the end. Confronted with China pouring cold water on Donald Trump's version of reality, Trump said this.
A question on China. Can you clarify with whom the U.S. is speaking with China? They're saying it's fake news that trade talks are happening.
Well, they had a meeting this morning, so I can't tell you. It doesn't matter who they is.
They just doesn't include China and the U.S., according to China. New York Times reports this, quote, in private, some Trump officials concede that they did not accurately predict China's reaction. Trump seemed to expect China to be among the first to come begging for relief, given the size of its exports to the U.S. Now, though, the cost of all of it, the price we as Americans and as a country are paying for Trump's incompetence and delusions as he stumbles on what was once his political calling card, the economy, is in part our image, our reputation, our history as a safe place to invest in and a reliable player and partner on the world stage. Take a look at the cover of The Economist. Quote, only 1,361 days to go, showing America's national symbol, the bald eagle, battered and injured and bandaged. A top Trump MAGA donor puts it this way: our national brand is at risk. Take a listen to
America
that.
rose beyond just being a country. It was like an aspiration for most of the world. And we're eroding that brand right now. And if you think of your behavior as a consumer, how many times do you buy a product with a brand on it because you trust that brand? In the financial markets, no brand compared to the brand of the U.S. Treasuries. U.S. Treasury market, the strength of the U.S. dollar, and the creditworthiness of U.S. Treasuries. No brand came close. We put that brand at risk.
Perp walk. Ooh.
And as you and I both know, it can take a very long time to remove the tarnish on a brand. So the president and the Secretary of Treasury and the Secretary of Commerce need to be very thoughtful that when you have a brand, you need to behave in a way that respects that brand, that strengthens that brand. Because when you tarnish that brand, it can be a lifetime to repair the damage that has been done.
Almost feels intentional.
The economic and political price of Donald Trump's stumbles on the economy is where we start today. Joining us now, U.S. financial commentator for the Financial Times, writer of the Unhedged newsletter, Robert Armstrong is here. Also joining us, Sarah Longwell. She's publisher of The Bulwark, host of the podcast The Focus Group.
Like a
and
big
with
snowball.
Me at the table for the hour, anchor and correspondent for Bloomberg News, David Gura. Sarah Longwell, let me start with you and the public's experience of Donald Trump's erratic behavior around economic policy. What has sunk in?
I mean, the main thing that has sunk in is that maybe Donald Trump doesn't know exactly what he's doing. Look, the fact is, when it comes to why a lot of voters, not all of them, not, the hardcore MAGA people, but there was another major slice of the Trump voting coalition.
See, the only reason I don't buy that Trump doesn't know what he's doing, first of all, I don't think he knows what he's doing, and he just says what he's going to say. But isn't it interesting that when he does something, no one is speaking against it or explaining it. They're just not intervening at all. Right? I mean, yeah, Scott Bessent, Mrs. Beasley goes on TV, and then Ron Vara goes on TV once in a while, and says what they're going to say. But that to me is almost just kind of noise, right? But it's kind of interesting to me that there's not a lot of PR intervention, right? Because those two, for example, Ron Vara, Peter Navarro, and Mrs. Beasley, Scott Bessent, those two can say completely different things, and it's almost like that's okay because, frankly, we want people to be confused about what is really happening. You know what I mean? Because it's just odd to me that if this was so bad for business, that someone like a donor would step in and say, hey, now I understand the Koch brothers, I guess, are suing them for the tariffs thing. I guess I would expect more kind of spinny. I don't know. I don't know. So it's kind of just interesting to me. And I'm just not sure that, yeah, of course he's dumb and he's not bright. And he says things just out of emotion. But they kind of know that about him, and that's okay. That's part of the charm for them. So I wonder why. If not just to tarnish the brand, it makes a little more sense to me in terms of when Brent Allpress talks about a weakened America. It's almost interesting because the brand of America could theoretically, in their minds, be associated with, freedom and freedom of speech and democracy and, blah, 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 which they don't really want this state to be, right? That doesn't work for them. They're more autocratic. They want different. So I could see where the rebranding, it's okay to kind of trash the democracy, 1776 stuff. You know what I mean? It's okay to trash our reputation because we're going to extort what we need from other countries using our big, strong military. You know what I mean? I don't know. Those are my high thoughts. So, I'm not trying to say that's what's happening because I don't have enough knowledge to know that. But I also feel like sometimes we're not asking the right questions. Kind of, Anyway, here we go. Let's listen to Sarah.
That were people who just wanted things to cost less, right? They were upset about inflation. They were upset about the cost of housing. And they heard Donald Trump promise to lower the price of groceries and that he was going to lower the cost of everything. It was going to be so easy and so fast. And when you listen to voters and focus groups, they say not only are things not getting better, but it feels like they're getting worse. And the level of uncertainty that they feel, and that is it. I really want to, it's the uncertainty that you can hear from people. You'll get some who are, they're still fans of Donald Trump, but they're kind of like, boy, I hope this works out. I'm not sure. But then you get other people, especially people who are cost constrained, who are at the lower end of the income spectrum. And those people notice every dollar and the way any price that goes up. And so from those voters who heard the promise that Trump was going to lower costs, who thought he was a businessman, who knew what he was doing, and is now watching this chaos and not seeing their prices go down, they are starting to lose faith that he's going to be able to keep the promises that he made to them.
Sarah, you and I had a lot of conversations in the run-up to the November election day, talking about how, who could break through to people? Could generals make the argument? And they finally, in the closing days of the campaign, spoke out about who Trump was. They said he was, quote, fascist to the core. I think that no one would have ever been cynical enough to want people to experience any economic insecurity, instability, or rising prices, right? It's not a thought exercise because too many people's lives and livelihoods and sense of their place in the world is at risk. But Donald Trump has done that experience for us. And I think if we go into the numbers, he's never had a 33% approval on any economic question. I don't think he even had that during the pandemic, when the disapproval was for supply chain issues, which people didn't completely blame him for. The world was shut down. The world streets were empty. And 38% is his overall approval on the economy. Has he ever been here before politically?
He's never been here before, but part of the reason he's never been here before is that with the exception of COVID, where people recognized a major exogenous event occurring, Donald Trump's strength, his central mythology was this idea that he was a businessman. And in that first term before COVID hit, he had a very strong economy and he kept running it hot. And so what you're seeing right now is people experiencing negative personal consequences as the result of the decisions that Donald Trump is making. And so when Donald Trump's strength, the thing that people count on him the most for, there's two things. One, that he will handle immigration well, and two, that he will handle the economy well, although they're flipped. They want the economy first, immigration second. And right now, he is failing on both of those fronts, and you're seeing his numbers drop on both of those fronts. And when you go at his strengths, at the central things people elected him to do, and people feel like he's failing on those fronts, especially because he keeps deporting people wrongly, and he keeps crashing the stock market, and prices of things are going up. Inflation's not coming down. He made promises he couldn't keep. That is a recipe for Donald Trump to get into really negative territory really fast. We have never seen somebody in the first 100 days. I mean, presidents enjoy a honeymoon period. The bottom usually starts to fall out sometime in the summer. Donald Trump has managed to crater every advantage he had before the first 100 days are up.
We talk a lot as well about message delivery in the manosphere and the blogosphere and the podosphere and the spherosphere and all that stuff, message delivery.
You're right,
It feels
Max.
like we're in
I
a
haven't
lived
forgotten.
experience chapter of our politics. How much influence do influencers even have in the political arena right now, Sarah?
Well, they actually do have some. Look, I want to make an argument for offense right now. Look, Donald Trump wanted to make the case that the problems in the economy were Joe Biden's fault. And I think that, yes, people do not believe that. And they don't believe it in part because Donald Trump has made it such a signature, the tariffs especially, such a signature of what he's doing. But look, you've got to be able to press your advantage. You've got to go on offense. You've got to say Trump is doing this. And I think people have been doing a better job of making him own this. And then especially where this has mattered is on immigration.
Ooh.
I think there were some politicians
Who's made
who
him
said,
own it?
look, don't talk about these wrongful
My God. Okay,
deportations.
I'm sorry, Sarah. You just lost me on that one. I'm sorry, dear. Forgive me, Sarah, but I can't with you. I can't with you. All right, let's see. Now this, I feel like this might also be a stupid ass. Oh, well, actually, okay. Let me check in with chat and see how we're doing. Hold on. Let me take away and get us back to a more peaceful place. Yeah. I don't think from an economy standpoint, the economy has been beneficial to those who have, and that's really been the fault of all of it. And so no president in my mind. Good day, GP, my dear friend. No president, no administration has really done a tremendous amount to advance the needs of the many in relation to the few. So I don't know if that's really part of their calculus. It's kind of strange. Yeah, stock prices are down again. Well, I mean, there's really just not enough certainty for, and with China being like, shut up, Donald, that's completely understandable. Speaking of which, 5 days ago, if you want to talk about what people think about this, I did, this is only 5 minutes, but it's the Carlyle Group CEO. You want to talk about a mega capitalist? Here you go. Here's that.
Days and months will
stop.
give increasing clarity.
Stop. Okay. Meep. This is from Bloomberg Television. Hold on. Sorry. Not as smooth when I'm tired. Okay. So this is from Bloomberg about 4 days ago. Joy Ann Reid did an interview with someone yesterday, and they really laid it out. You would like it. It's long, so watch on your own or in Discord or whatever. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so here we go. This is the Carlyle Group CEO about the tariffs and China and all the Fed and all that kind of good stuff. Thank you, Gal.
How often are you thinking about the prospect of a recession? Do you see a significant chance of one?
I think it's certainly on the table. I think it's very early to make a judgment about whether or not we have a recession or we actually have a huge rebound. And I think that over the coming days and months,
it could be this or it could be completely the other thing.
I think if we get through this period and we get to a new equilibrium in terms of trade and business arrangements, no, I don't think we'll have a recession. I think if that takes a while, I think the risk is higher. But right now, I think it's on the table, but no one can tell you one way or another whether that's a high likelihood.
How long is a while? How long can the markets live through this kind of uncertainty,
Artful
public
Dodger.
or private?
I don't think it's a question of how long can the markets live. I think it's a question of business owners and their ability to plan going forward.
That part.
So you hear this now when CEOs come out and they're doing quarterly reporting, they're saying, hey, very difficult to forecast. Difficult to forecast is troubling because it stalls decision making.
Yeah.
And it chills activity.
Right.
And then you get people doing more contingency planning than growth planning.
Right.
And so, but that could pivot quite quickly. If we got to a point of clarity.
How quickly?
Sooner's better than later.
When I last interviewed you about this, you told investors to buckle up.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
I think they should still stay buckled. It's just a question of whether or not the airbags come out now. But I think that, I think this is an environment where if you have a lot of tolerance for volatility, then you can lean in. I think if your tolerance for volatility is low, then you should be protecting capital.
Okay, if you have a high risk tolerance, go for it. If you don't.
Has said that he is concerned about the prospect of persistent inflation. Now, because of that, you have a market that is increasingly concerned about stagflation.
Yeah.
Is that a scenario you're concerned about?
What about that?
I don't think there's a scenario I'm concerned about. I think the Fed chair has done an amazing job in his role, whether it was navigating the pandemic, navigating the spike in inflation. I think we see the stickiness of inflation in our portfolio companies, as we talked about earlier around the KPIs. we can see the
key
fact
performance
that there's
indicators.
Not marginal demand destruction, which actually would drive prices lower. So inflation does feel sticky, but inflation being sticky in and of itself is not a bad factor. That's actually a reflection of a strong economy, low unemployment.
What?
I think the concern people have now is that business activity slows.
What about
because of the policy decisions? This is
the unemployment rate went
prices
up.
are elevated, and you end up in that part of the Venn diagram for a period of time where you do have elevated prices and a slowing economy. And I think, but sticky inflation at the rates we're at now, I don't actually think in and of itself independently is a concern.
Really?
It's a question of whether or not we do get a slowdown in business activity and inflation remains sticky.
If we do, if we get a slowdown.
When is it that you think the Fed can start cutting rates again?
Well, that's a decision the Fed will make, but I think what the Fed has shown us
this is why this guy has this
periods
job.
of uncertainty, and this is a period of uncertainty because we're in a new policy regime geopolitically, is that in uncertainty, I think they do the right thing. They track the data. And so the good news is they have a lot of financial flexibility here at this level. So they can easily cut rates. What they don't want to do is cut rates unnecessarily and then be behind the curve and have to come back up. And so I think what they've communicated to the marketplace is we're going to watch the data very, very carefully. If the data indicates to us that unemployment is rising or inflation gives us a little more slack, then they're going to cut rates. But I think they're doing a wise thing right now because uncertainty is high and this is a new regime.
You think he's going to chase the dog's tail?
Again, I'm super complimentary of their actions.
So what is it, if anything, that keeps you up at night?
I'm super complimentary of their actions. Wow, man. These corporate overlords. I don't even want to say bent the knee because I think this guy bent the knee a long time ago. I have no doubt in my mind he's a motherfucker. It's just interesting. Let them eat cake. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to make money either way.
Night right now.
If you think longer term, I think the most important thing that's really in front of the markets right now is if we end up in a sustained trade war between the United States and China.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's a good outcome if the number one and two largest economies in the world haven't found an equilibrium around cooperation.
Equilibrium, is that what we're calling it now?
I wouldn't say it keeps me up at night, but I think if you think about
because nothing
the information
keeps you up
we're all
at night?
seeing in the marketplace, it's really critical for the global economy.
He was mocked in the comments. Oh, that's great.
We and China find a place of cooperation at an equilibrium. And I think the faster that can happen, the better it is
come together,
for all business activity globally.
Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, and where's the people?
Happening in the Oval Office just moments ago.
That's that was something else. I actually wanted to go to
hey everybody, and welcome to another Chai Talk with a
Oh, this is 40 minutes?
a subject matter expert who's far smarter than me.
Okay, so this is Wajahat Ali. I like his stuff. That's great. I don't know why I'm not subscribed. I'll subscribe. This is a 40-minute one. I don't think I'm going to show this one, but check out. I'll put it in the comments, or I'll put it in the description of the video too, so that you can come back and look at this. So this is it. Joy Reid. Thank you, gal, for the interview that laid out. Okay, that's cool. All right. So definitely take a look at that one and come back to it. Do. I'm not playing you.
Days and months,
Don't
we'll get increased.
Shush your big fat mouth. All right, let me see what else we have on this. I think that's it. And then I want to go ahead before I go to this one, which I'm really not sure what it is. Or actually, it's this one. This one. Is it that one? And then that's not it. Oh, this was gross. I'm not going to make you watch this, but the Secretary Bessent spoke at the IIF, the International Investment Fuckwads. I don't know what the F stands for. But it was bad. I just happened to keep it because I wanted to re-listen to it. But it was just, it was Mrs. Beasley for 47 minutes, and it was just about all anyone could take. All right, so let me go to the Mar-a-Flarto Accord. Oh, I also wanted, wait, there's some breaking news, actually. Hold on, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait. Because a Wisconsin judge has just been arrested for obstructing ICE. Here we go. Trump administration. Okay, here we go. FBI arrest judge. FBI agents arrested a county judge in Milwaukee on Friday, accusing her of shielding an immigrant from federal authorities. A spokesman for the U.S. Marshals confirmed that the judge, Hannah Dugan, had been arrested, a major escalation of the Trump administration's fight with local officials over deportations, also known as kidnappings. All right, so there is the judge. The FBI arrested a Wisconsin judge, Patel says, accusing her of helping an immigrant avoid detention. Hannah Dugan. All right. FBI Kash Patel, that agents had arrested a county judge in Milwaukee on charges of obstructing immigration enforcement. A spokesman for the U.S. Marshals confirmed the arrest of a sitting judge, a major escalation in the Trump administration's battle with local authorities over deportations. The Bureau arrested Judge Hannah Dugan on suspicion that she, quote, intentionally misdirected federal agents away from, end quote, an immigrant being pursued by federal authorities. Mr. Patel wrote on social media. He later deleted the post for reasons that were not immediately clear, other than he's a fucking pussy. An FBI spokesman did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Of course, show more. Brady McCarran, a spokesman for the U.S. Marshals, confirmed that the judge had been arrested by FBI agents on Friday morning. The charging document against the judge was not immediately available in federal court records. The Trump administration has vowed to investigate and prosecute local officials who do not assist federal immigration enforcement efforts, denouncing what they call sanctuary cities for not doing more to assist federal apprehensions and deportations, aka kidnappings of millions of undocumented immigrants, and documented, as it turns out. The Milwaukee case involves a frequent flashpoint in that debate when immigration agents try to arrest undocumented immigrants who are appearing in state court. Participating in the justice process. Local authorities often chafe at such efforts, arguing they endanger public safety if people dealing with relatively minor legal issues feel it is unsafe to enter courthouses. In the first Trump administration, a local Massachusetts judge was indicted by the Justice Department on charges of obstructing immigration authorities. The charges were dropped after the judge agreed to refer herself to potential judicial discipline. Well, that's weird. I don't remember that one. Judges worried Trump could tell U.S. Marshals to stop protecting them. Wow. I did not know that. Yuck. All right, let me get to my... Here we go. Sorry, now we have to go to class. Now it's time for class. All right, everybody, settle down. Settle down. Yikes. What a world, huh? What a world. Oh, I just don't know where to begin. All right. Now, where we left off with this piece of crap document. Let's see. Where am I? Let's just kind of get a little bearing here. Let's see. Okay, graduated implementation. So he's talking about tariffs. If you remember where we were, which this is the document written by Stephen Mirren, who is the economic advisor to the president. And many of the tenets in this memo that he wrote last November seem to be being implemented in some form with some potential for this type of arrangement to happen. And it's known as the Mar-a-Lago Accord. And it has to do with trade and restructuring our responsibilities in that. And just, kind of causing a lot of chaos. Just generally causing chaos. That's pretty much it. It's, not a big deal. I don't know. Is it a big deal? I don't know. But we're about halfway through, actually, which is great. We made some really good time. Let me see. I wonder if I could, can't I make it, where's the little number? Can't they fill in a number? No, I don't want to view your freaking AI summary, you freaking pigs. All right, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just move it over. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay, fine. Good enough. Graduated implementation. Even in the 2018-19 trade war, that Dump is responsible for. The greatest economy ever. President Dump didn't implement 25% tariffs on Chinese imports in one swoop with no warning. Hello? He didn't go overnight and just say, 125? Hold my beer. I meant 145. No, he didn't do that. Whatever. He discussed these plans publicly and threatened China if it didn't reform its trade practices before implementing tariffs. Subsequent to open threats, they were implemented in such a manner that the roughly 18% increase in effective tariff rates was spread over more than a year. What? Why are you so mad, bro? In going to 60% tariffs on China or 10% globally, such an approach becomes even more important. Do you think Stephen said 145? Do you think that Stephen, the guy who wrote this document, do you think he was in the office and went 145? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yep. Okay. I mean, do you think he had a moment where it's like, oh, what have I done? I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. Oh, phew. During his first admin, Dump sought to use tariffs to procure a trade agreement from China, which ultimately found shape in the Phase 1 agreement, a commitment to improve practices on intellectual property, cybersecurity, non-tariff barriers, openness to financial services, and purchases of agricultural commodities that was subsequently violated and disregarded by China. Oh, man. Because tariffs are a negotiating tool. Oh, is that what we're calling them now? Because tariffs are a negotiating tool. Where am I? The president was mercurial in their implementation. The uncertainty over whether, when, and how big adds to leverage in a negotiation. Oh, so it was his idea. Okay, never mind. Oh, Stephen. In a second term, there's less cause to negotiate with Chinese upfront, since they already abdicated their responsibilities under the Phase 1 agreement. That's an interesting thing to put in writing when you're about to negotiate with the Chinese. Does Stephen not think that anyone can access this fucking PDF that he's got online on his website? I don't know. When someone has already demonstrated they walk away from their commitments, why bother trying to procure more without some form of security, like placing their U.S. Treasury reserves, the debt that they own, in escrow? Instead, To help minimize uncertainty and any adverse consequences of tariffs, the administration can use credible forward guidance, similar to what is used by the Federal Reserve across a range of policies, to guide expectations. Oh, yeah, that's been the approach. Yeah, not just rantings of a lunatic in the Oval Office. Okay. Okay. Let's see. The U.S. government might announce a list of demands from Chinese policy, say opening particular markets to American companies, or an end to or reparations for intellectual property theft, purchases of agricultural commodities, currency appreciation, or more. You see, we've just laid out all the things we would want in this fucking PDF. It's going to really help when we get to the negotiation table because we're going to switch it up. The U.S. can proceed gradually to implement tariffs if China does not meet these demands. It might announce a schedule. It might. Oh my God, you guys, the chat stopped for me. I thought you guys were just like, meh. This is boring. Okay. Forum. Yeah, I think so. I made an excerpt of the important parts. Ooh, I follow a number of Southeast Asian YouTubers and they mock Besant mercilessly. Well, they need to get on board the Beasley bus because Scott Besant is Mrs. Beasley as the day is long. Who's Santos? Yeah, that's right, Lisa. Santos is being sentenced. What do we know? Jay Rance, I'm so happy you're here. Hi, babe. Hi, bestie. Do we know if George Santos has been sentenced? Is he going to get community service? Because I'm going to probably... I don't really care, actually, what he does, but he's a jerk. I don't like him. Okay, but let's go back to this really stirring document. Come on now. You guys don't get off on this as much as I do? The U.S. could proceed to gradually implement tariffs and China does not meet these demands. It might announce a schedule. For instance, a 2% monthly increase in tariffs on China in perpetuity until the demands are met. So be ready, China, because I'm telling you what I'm going to say ahead of time. Such a policy will, 1, gradually ramp tariffs at a pace not too different from 2018-19, which the economy seemed able to easily absorb. Boy, we should look at price increases over that time. That would be interesting. Number 2, put the ball in China's court for reforming their economic system. That's right. You do it. Number 3, allow tariffs to exceed 60% midway through the term, which is something President Dump has expressed wanting. 60% is a starting point. No shit, Sherlock. Actually, 145% is your current starting point. Nutbag. And, 4, provide firms with clarity over the path for tariffs. That thing we just watched, with the big capitalist pig, that video we just watched. Yeah, that's what they think of this. They can't plan. Which will help them make plans to deal with supply chain adjustments and moving production outside of China. Do you know how long that would take? And what are the criteria? Like, how much would they need to produce in the United States in order to be exempt from tariffs? That's my question. Are we talking just a little tiny bit of production? Like, what are we talking? Are we talking the whole enchilada? Everything? From nuts to bolts? To windows? To leather seats? Is that what we're talking about? I don't know what's wrong with Besant, but he's probably... Actually, Max, I think Besant is suffering from a guilty conscience because I think he thinks he knows better. And he just can't. The tape on him is absolutely epic. And he knows that if he's caught with that clown on tape, hell to pay. So I guess his tape's really good. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I don't know. It's probably with Ron Vara. Bessent was probably caught with Ron Vara in the janitor's closet at the White House. It could happen. Okay. Let's see here. 5, limit financial market volatility by removing uncertainty regarding implementation. Oh my God. Yikes. We're the dumbest people in the world. Wait, oops. You forgot who had the microphone. Stephen Mirren. You forgot who was holding the microphone, didn't you? 2018-19 did not severely hobble China's economy and bring back all its supply chains to the United States. In part, this is because it was a one-time shock to tariff rates, which was mostly offset by the currency. But didn't you just say that you implemented them slowly over a year? It wasn't a one-time. Oh, I see. One-time shock in that it's not done, endlessly with an infinite amount of tariff. Okay. Which was mostly offset by the currency. By contrast, a plan like the one set forth above would result in perpetually rising tariff rate on a known and gradual path that would likely instill much greater capital pressures on China and more rearrangement of the supply chains. And with significant pressure on China, it's likely to achieve greater trade concessions. Critically, in the wake of their abdication of Phase 1 commitments, Chinese obligations under trade agreements should now be secured rather than unsecured. What's that mean? Graduated scales, leverage, and security. Security. The last trade war we saw gradations of tariff rates for different types of products imported from China. It is likely that the next Trump administration take a similar approach with respect to both products and trading partners. While President Trump has proposed a 10% tariff on the world as a whole, such a tariff is unlikely to be uniform across countries. Scott Bessent, Mrs. Beasley, a Trump advisor and now the head of the money, Steve Mnuchin Jr., a Trump advisor floated as potential he is now, has proposed putting countries into different groups based on their currency policies, the terms of bilateral trade agreements and security agreements, their values, and more. Per Mrs. Beasley, in 2024, these buckets can bear different tariff rates, and the government can lay out what actions a trade partner would need to undertake to move between the buckets. Well, that sounds really, really great. But there's an interesting footnote down here that you can hardly see, but I'll read it to you. This is a footnote from, it was up here. It was up here. Where was it? Where was it? Oh, wait, here we go. Where is it? Well, anyway, let me read the footnote to you. Of course, supply chains might have ultimately had greater adjustments if the Phase 1 deal reached in the fall of 2019 had been enforced. Given China abandoned it as soon as the Biden administration took over and the Biden administration had no interest in trying to enforce it, it is unclear if the trade war of 2018-19 would have had more lasting consequences. Wait, what? I thought it was the best economy in the bazillions world. In this manner, tariffs create negotiating leverage for incentivizing better terms from the rest of the world on both trade and, don't forget, security terms. That big, beautiful military. America would encourage other nations to move to lower tariff tiers, improving burden sharing. Really? I thought it was based on a whole range of factors per very important calculation per country. Stephen, did he not follow all your advice? Come on now. And he's not writing the memos. One can imagine a long list of trade and security criteria which might lead to higher or lower tariffs, premised on the notion that access to the U.S. consumer market is a privilege that must be earned, not a right. For example, maybe the U.S. wants to discriminate based on, does the nation apply similar tariff rates to their imports from U.S. as America does on their exports here? Does the nation, why aren't they buying our, I don't know, what are we selling? Not sure what we sell. Does the nation have a history of suppressing its currency, for instance, via the accumulation of excessive quantities of foreign exchange reserves? Does the nation open its markets to U.S. firms in the same way America opens its market to foreign firms operating stateside? Does the nation respect American intellectual property rights, even if we don't? Does the nation help China evade tariffs via re-export, which is where China sends the goods to another country like Vietnam for the lower tariff rate? Does the nation pay its NATO obligations in full? And I don't know if they do that to Vietnam, so apologies to Vietnam, but that was the example brought up in a prior mention. Does the nation pay its NATO obligations in full? Does the nation side with China, Russia, and Iran in key international disputes? We do. For instance, at the United Nations, we did. Wait, what? I mean, we did just recently. So, not sure how I guess we're scratching that from this draft. Does the nation help sanctioned entities evade sanctions or trade with sanctioned entities? We might. I don't know. God knows what's happening with Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin. Does the nation harbor enemies of the United States, e.g., for example, terrorists or cyber criminals? The ones who wear hoodies. Do the nation's leaders grandstand, to be defined later, against the United States in the international theater? The International House of Pancakes? Because of the concern of impacts of such a system on global markets, a Trump administration may want to pursue a rate phase-in approach as described above, starting with low tariffs and only hitting the maximum 10% rate over time. Or do this weird kind of 30-day extension thing all the time, so people have no idea what's going to happen. That sounds like a great idea. If the system is effective over time at either raising revenue or incentivizing more favorable treatment from trading partners, it could eventually have a top tariff rate significantly in excess of 10%. That applies to a small number of countries, or everyone. I don't know. Or no one. Similar to the domestic tax code, once the government starts carving out exclusions and deductions for various behaviors, it needs to raise rates to achieve the same revenue goals. Oops. Well, it's going to. Such a system can embody the view that national security and trade, here we go, are joined at the hip. Trade terms can be a means of procuring better security outcomes and burden sharing. In Scott Beasley's words, Mr. Besant, more clearly segmenting the international economy into zones based on common security and economic systems would help highlight the persistence of imbalances and introduce more friction points to deal with them. Countries that want to be inside the defense umbrella must also be inside the fair trade umbrella. It's called extortion. An old protection racket. That's all it is. We're the bullies on the street with the biggest guns in our holsters. Sorry, that was terrible. Such a tool can be used to pressure, extort, name your verb, other nations to join our tariffs against China. Oh, I hadn't heard about that yet. I suppose that's part of that many negotiations that are happening with all the 160 countries that have lined up at the White House doors. Creating a multilateral approach toward tariffs, forced to choose between facing a tariff on their exports to the American consumer or applying tariffs to their imports from China. Which will they choose? It depends on the relative tariff rates and how significant each is to their economies and security. The attempt to create a global tariff wall around China would increase the pressure on China to reform its economic system, at the risk of significantly more global volatility as supply chains come under greater pressure to adjust. Oh boy. From America's perspective, if other nations choose to keep their current policies vis-a-vis China, but accept the higher U.S. tariff, that's not terrible. Because then, in this framework, at least they're paying revenue to the Treasury or the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And limiting the security obligations of the United States. Joining a tariff wall with a security umbrella is a high-risk strategy, but if it works, it is also high reward for the military-industrial complex. Tariffs and competitiveness. Let's see. Government revenue must come from somewhere and requires some form of taxation. The characteristics of the tax code. The characteristics of the tax code will affect overall economic growth, or not, and international competitiveness. Many in the dump camp see them as joined. That's right. He absolutely needs those tax cuts to pass in order to pay back business, I think, for the shit he's causing. Let's see. The relative cost of producing goods for export or importing from elsewhere can be affected by whether a nation taxes labor, consumption, capital, or trade. This argument was given explicitly for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in the Council of Economic Advisors in 2018. Fiscal devaluations. The literature on so-called fiscal devaluations fleshes out this idea. For instance, Fari, Gopinath, and Itshoki, sorry if I Ixkoki, 2013, show that the economic effects of devaluation in the exchange rate, devaluation of the dollar, in the exchange rate can be perfectly replicated either by two combinations of policies, either an import tariff and an export subsidy, or a consumption tax increase and payroll tax cut. These combinations discourage domestic use of goods and services and encourage domestic production and result in identical economic outcomes to currency devaluations. Tax policies and currencies are two avenues for achieving a boost to competitiveness, and this equivalency helps build the intuition for currency tariff. Note that what is not the same in each of these policy mixes is the net amount of revenue raised. And the two policy mixes, again, for if you miss that, is either an import tariff and an export subsidy. So, a tax on things coming in, consumption tax, and subsidizing companies that export, which I guess means no corporate taxes. So people pay the revenue, basically. Ish. Or a consumption tax increase, which is what? Sales tax? Not tariffs? I don't get that. And a payroll tax cut. So all of the plans that we've talked about that Howard Nutlicker and others have discussed about, we want to propose no income tax for households under $150,000. Well, that's part of this boondoggle. It's very telling when the White House puts a stop to summaries of presidential calls with foreign leaders. Indeed, GP. Well, you know what? That's going to be nothing compared to all the nonsense that's hopefully going to be uncovered at the end of this. Ugh, I shudder to think. These combinations, These combinations discourage domestic use of goods and services. I don't get that. Discourage domestic use of goods and services. Does that mean these combinations mean people don't spend as much, and encourage domestic production and result in identical economic outcomes to currency. Okay. Tax policies and currencies. Okay. Because of the emphasis on competitiveness, it is unlikely that a second Trump administration will support an increase in domestic tax rates, whether corporate or income. Its goal will be, in large part, to make America a more attractive place to invest and hire than other countries, particularly China, and higher domestic tax rates undermine that goal. But how are they going to offer competitive wages? I mean, what business would want to bring their manufacturing back here if they have what is a basically a slave labor force in different countries? You know what I mean? Like, why would they want to increase their production costs so very much? It doesn't really. I mean, that must mean their taxes go to zero. I don't even know if that's enough money to offset. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, but I don't know. I'm not an economist either. Believe me. I know you guys realize that. All right, here we go. Let's see. Whether corporate is where am I? Where am I? Indeed. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 reduced in the United States statutory corporate rate from the second highest in the OECD is some kind of region of nations. Forgive me for not remembering what the name of that acronym is. In 2016, after Colombia, to the average 21.2% in 2021. Work by Chowdhury, Reich, Smith, Zidar, and Zwick estimated that the domestic investment of firms with mean tax changes increased. Okay, so the lowering of corporate taxes, those firms increased their domestic investment by 20% relative to a no change baseline. I'm not sure what that actual calculation would be. In that sense, the preservation of low tax rates is a means of generating investment and jobs in America, and even better when financed in part by tariffs on foreign imports. This argument extends to income tax for individuals as well. As long as labor supply is not perfectly elastic, I'm not sure what that means. An income tax will reduce the after-tax wage received by workers and require firms to offset some of the tax with higher wages. An increase in taxes on labor income thereby makes it more expensive to employ workers in the United States relative to employing workers abroad or investing in labor-saving capital. More expensive workers, all else equal, means fewer jobs relative to machines or imports. So, thank you so much, GP. Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that definition. Okay, so first of all, I believe, and Max, I think you know something about this data point, maybe. Is that we are pretty much at baseline unemployment, in that there is no additional workforce. So I guess I'm just saying I don't see the end of this story, but maybe it's in the next paragraph. I don't know. Here we go. Distortions and optimal tariff rates. Economists have also spent much time studying how the tax code affects economic decisions, known as distortions. If they take the economy away from a first best efficiency maximizing equilibrium, the economic distortions are the loss of welfare that occur beyond the revenue raised. For example, thank you. Suppose a taxpayer reduces her working hours from 45 per week to 40 because her income tax rate increased. While she enjoys more leisure, The goods or services she would have produced in those 5 hours and the salary she would have received cease to exist and are lost to the economy forever. The deadweight loss or excess burden in this stylized example is the lost production, okay, net of the increased leisure she enjoys and the revenue raised by the government. Okay. I think I understand that, actually, kind of. Of course, there are many decisions that can get adjusted, not just the number of hours worked, job choice, education choice, entrepreneurship, whether compensation is in the form of cash or fringe benefits, location, and much more. These distortions are a function of the marginal tax rate paid, not the average tax rate. Since the decision whether to work those last few hours depends on the marginal and not the average rate. I think he's trying to obfuscate. And some of these distortions can have enormous consequences over time. Hello, for instance, if firm location decision is affected by taxes, agglomeration, great word, economies may be strongly inhibited. I don't know what an agglomeration economy is. Let me look that up. Hold on, please. Hold, please. We are now processing. I like learning things. Agglomeration. I fucking love this word. Oh my God. It's just what I thought in my cartoon head. A mass or collection of things. An assemblage. The Art Center is an agglomeration of theaters, galleries, shops, restaurants, and bars. Stop. I'm sorry, that cracks me up. Okay, I'm sorry. I know this is really hard, dry material. I get it. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to make it as entertaining as I can be without being too distracting and getting totally off topic. Okay, so if firm location decision is affected by taxes, agglomeration economies, which are, I guess, an assemblage, may be strongly inhibited, sharply decreasing innovation and productivity growth over the long term. The distortionary costs of taxation are convex. I don't know what concave and convex. So concave is in, convex is out. They bulge, right? Is that a bulge? In other words, tax hikes are much more costly when starting from already high rates. A 1-point hike from 35 to 36 is much more damaging to the economy than a 1-point hike from 2 to 3. Costs are convex, bulging. I didn't want people like, yeah, gal. Because the higher tax rates move, the more intensely households and firms adjust their behavior to avoid the tax burden. Because marginal rates are already much higher in labor and capital income than they are on imports, the economic consequences of an increase in tariff rates might well be less problematic than an increase in income or corporate rates. For instance, Say's Slemrod and Gertz. Sorry. Is that your name? Yeah, it is. Slemrod. Provide a benchmark for what economists call the marginal excess burden of raising a further dollar of revenue. They calculate that the marginal excess burden is equal to 38% of revenue raised. I don't know what that means, but to understand what that means, go back to the example of labor supply. When the government chooses to extract $1 from the worker's salary, she reduces her work by an additional amount worth a total of 38 cents, net of the increased leisure she enjoys and revenue collected. Wow, this guy must be fun at parties. By contrast, trade economists argue that for a large economy, imposing a positive tariff level is modestly welfare enhancing up to a point. Classically, modest tariffs can improve welfare because reduced demand from tariff-imposing country depresses prices of the imported goods. You know, like when you don't get to have as much selection of goods to choose from because the prices are so prohibitive that you have to buy some shitty knockoff of whatever it is you wanted to buy. Thank you, Neil. Mnemonic. Concave is like looking into a cave. Thank you. Do you like my convex as a bulge? That's just how I see it. Okay. While the tariff produces distortionary welfare losses because you don't get to buy the stuff you want due to reduced imports. Okay, that's what that means. And more expensive home production. Slip that right in there. Up to a point, those losses are dominated by the gains that result from lower prices of imports. Wait, what? Once import reduction becomes sufficiently large, the benefits from lower prices of imports cease to outweigh the costs, and the tariff reduces welfare. That tariffs initially increase and then subsequently decrease welfare implies an optimal tariff rate, at which point the country has reaped all the possible benefit from the tariffs, and a higher tariff rate reduces welfare. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm sure it means something. For a benchmark, the Handbook of International Economics, chapter by Costaneau and Rodriguez-Clare, indicates that the optimal tariff for the United States under plausible parameterizations you have a bulgy convex. My convex is a little bulgy today. Oh my God. You guys, I don't know why you put up with me, but thank you for doing it. Let's see. Indeed, as long as tariffs don't exceed 50%. Oh, Stephen. Stephen, do you feel foolish now? Do you feel foolish? Maybe not. Maybe the more the merrier. They are still welfare enhancing relative to completely open trade. In other words, increasing effective overall tariffs from currently low levels of 2% will actually boost aggregate welfare in the United States. Once tariffs begin increasing beyond 20% on a broad effective basis, they become welfare reducing. Investment houses are now projecting that the projected effective rate of the tariffs proposed by President Trump will jump from 2.3% to 17%, just shy of the 20% level. Come on now. Moreover, tariffs can address pre-existing distortions due to other nations' trade policies. So wait a minute, Stephen. If your optimal level is 20%, what the fuck is 145%? I mean, what? I know, Jay. Oh God, I'm probably misleading a whole generation of people. I'm just here for the bulge to convex. Exactly. Okay. Wait a minute. What now? Okay, wait. Moreover, tariffs can address pre-existing distortions. Oh, this is where we get to bitch about non-tariff barriers. The list of China's abuses of the international trade system. God, you almost think they're just trying to do good for themselves. Wait a minute. Isn't that what we're trying to do? How does that work? And ranges from state subsidies for export-oriented industries. Is that what we just proposed for ourselves up above? I'm pretty sure that's what that said. Subsidize exports. Yep, that's what that said up there. Interesting. Rules for thee, but not for me. To outright theft of intellectual property and corporate sabotage. Not like us with TikTok. Just kidding. These distortions interfere with the discovery of comparative advantage and a free and open system of international trade, something we don't have anymore or probably will take decades to get back. Applying corrective tariffs to address these distortions may improve overall efficiency. I don't know. May's doing a lot of work there. Maybe not. I don't know. Where these arguments run into trouble is when other nations begin retaliating. Oh, this is what Besant Beasley loves to talk about. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate. as China did modestly in 2018-19. If the U.S. raises a tariff and other nations passively accept it, then it can be welfare enhancing overall, as in the optimal tariff literature. Yeah, stop resisting. However, don't be mean. Stop yelling at me, Mrs. Beasley. However, retaliatory tariffs impose additional costs on America and run the risk of tit-for-tat escalations in excess of optimal tariffs. Do you sleep at night thinking of optimal tariffs, Stephen? Do you? Oh, Stephen. Retaliatory tariffs by other nations can nullify the welfare benefits for tariffs for the U.S. Oops, he did it again. He opened his mouth, made words come on out, and they were wrong. He did it, and he's going to lose. Maybe he's no. Okay, thus preventing retaliation. I'm starting to speak like that, right? Thus preventing retaliation. Oh, wait, here we go. George Santos, 87 months in prison. Ooh. George Santos is sentenced to 87 months in prison. That's what, 60. What is that? What is that? 7 times 12. What's 7 times 12? 14. 84. Shit, man, that's 7 years. That is 7 years. He'll never do that time. He'll never do that time. He'll never do that time. Yeah. Will he be pardoned? I guess he might have some stories to tell, right? He might have some dirt on people. Thanks, Gal. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Like, I don't think he won't do that time. He won't do that time. All right, let's see here. Because the United States is a large source of consumer demand for the world with robust capital markets, it can withstand tit-for-tat escalation more easily than other nations and is likelier to win a game of chicken. Oh, really? Not so much. Oh, the Hegseth latest. Let me just pull that up. I'm determined to get through this motherfucking time. Oops, I did it again. Let's see. The headline that Gal just shared, Hegseth, pig's breath, personal phone use created vulnerabilities. The phone number used in the Signal chat could also be found in a variety of places, including on social media and a fantasy sports site. Yeah, he probably will have a space. Oh boy, they have to fire him, right? Like I'm so curious to see what is the line. What is the line for this administration? I don't know what the line is. He said he wants to serve it all in solitary. I don't blame him. He would be a target for just harassment, if nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, well, I mean, I don't want him to get any special treatment because, frankly, you know what? You do the crime, whatever. But I could understand why he would ask of that. Because he's an asshole. And he knows that people don't like assholes, especially, like, perceived to be rich ones. Yeah, Hegseth's going to be, he'll be back on Fox. He'll be back on Fox. You watched a funny Walter Masterson clip when he went on Santos' show. Oh God, Walter's funny. Okay, here we go. No, you can't make me move away from this. I don't care. He should join a prison gang. Fire Waterside chats with Pete. Moonshiners with Pete Hegseth. Ding 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 ding. Howdy, y'all. No, it's some kind of new he's gonna star in some Netflix movie about I don't know. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, Gal. It's all right. I love her detours. Are you kidding me? Hey man, we do breaking news here too, okay? It's not just, like whatever. We're like total breaking news. It just takes a minute. Okay, recall, if you will, that China's economy is dependent on capital controls, keeping savings invested in increasingly inefficient allocations of capital to unproductive assets like empty apartment buildings. If tit-for-tat escalation causes increasing pressure on those capital controls for money to leave China, their economy can experience far more severe volatility than the American economy. This natural advantage limits the ability of China to respond to tariff increases. Now, wait a minute. So you're telling me that this also requires that we maintain robust capital markets. I wonder what's happening to the capital markets. Is there any indicator for that? Capital markets. Oops. Data. Hold on. I just don't know where to begin. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Capital markets. Oh, I just don't know where to begin. I wonder what this is. Oh, no, that's weird. Oh, okay, here, wait. Oh. Interesting. I got to show you guys this. It's pretty cool. You're getting an F in this class. Girl, you're just along. You just go along with the ride. Don't you even worry. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. 'Cause I'll be blah, 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 blah when I'm checking out. Okay, let's take a look at this. I know, it's weird. Okay, I know. Just get high, okay? Just get high. Okay, everybody's in the back smoking. I get it. It's fine. Oh, he's going to make the great wine. Yes, toilet wine. A new version of toilet wine. He'll probably bottle it. He should do that. A Santos Chardonnay. What do you think? All right. Okay, I'm not sure I know what the fuck this is. Okay, that's transportation. What the hell? The movement and goods of people. Okay, wait. I'm very curious about this. The movement of goods and people tells of great structural change and waves of optimism and pessimism. So that's what this transportation summary is. And what's the green? Air domestic Oh, that was 2020. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. So this only goes through like 2021 or something. Okay. But that's like, okay. What's the black line? Rail revenue passenger miles. Vehicle miles traveled has steadily gone up. Air domestic has gone up, went down during COVID. Okay. What's this? Air freight ton miles. Okay. This is more interesting. So domestic and international. So that is, okay, so this is all 2021. Damn, I wish we had a little more current. But of course, like that's since 1966. Like it starts on 1966 right here, where my cursor is. All right, let me see if there's anything else. What's this? What are you guys doing? What kind of website is this? What kind of website is that? Oh my God. Well, okay. I'll have to do some more digging on capital markets, but that's fine. Good to know. I never was involved in any of that shit. I didn't understand that. I was just a retail broker. You can tell I hate math, but you can tell because most of my mega threads I tried to number and always doubled numbers or skipped some. My brain shuts off when I hear numbers. Hey, I was invited to the lounge a few months ago. I was told there was no math. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry, Jane. It isn't math. We're not really doing any math here. Don't worry. All right, here we go. But we're going back to this. God. Oh, you know what? We should actually go to some. Wait, how much longer do we have? 26 to 41. Okay, hold on. I'm on page 26. Don't go away from me. Currency policy and risks. Okay. Multilateral currency approaches. We'll probably do a part 3. I don't want to totally lose you guys. Okay, we're going to do a part 3 because I want to be fresher for this. Okay, so I want this to bookmark. Oh, let me read this last page. Okay, let me read this last page, actually. With respect to other nations, if the Trump administration merges national security and trade policy explicitly, it may provide some incentives against retaliation. For instance, it could declare that it views joint defense obligations and the American defense umbrella as less binding or reliable for nations which implement retaliatory tariffs. Can I say that again? For instance, off the cuff, it could declare that it views joint defense obligations and the American defense umbrella as less binding or less reliable for nations that implement retaliatory tariffs. Additionally, it's not clear whether one should view the failure of this deterrent as a bad outcome. Suppose the U.S. levels tariffs on NATO partners and threatens to weaken its NATO joint defense obligations if it is hit with retaliatory tariffs. Hi, SB. Suppose, okay. If Europe retaliates but dramatically boosts its own defense expenditures and capabilities, alleviating the United States' burden for global security and threatening less overextension of our capabilities, it will have accomplished several goals. Europe taking a greater role in its own defense allows the U.S. to concentrate more on China, which is a far greater economic and national security threat to America than Russia is, while generating revenue. What is clear, however, is that given all of these considerations, the dump team will view tariffs as an effective means of raising taxes on foreigners to pay for retaining low tax rates on Americans, or, if you will, replacing that with a use tax and a consumption tax in the form of higher prices, which even the American prices of domestically made goods, I've read, will rise if the cost of imports rise. That's right, because why not? Why in the world would you need to be that competitive? Do you see what I mean? All right. What is clear? Okay. The reduced personal income tax rates introduced by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act are due to expire in 2026, and extending them in full without raising deficits may require raising almost $5 trillion of new revenue or debt over a 10-year budget window. Doubtless, tariffs are a big part of the answer for extending the tax cuts. Revenue must come from somewhere. You are assuming I know what a lysigis is. A lysigis is a curve. I totally had to Google that. Figured you'd look it up and become an expert. I didn't go to college to avoid math. Kidding. I just had to work. I think it might be new. Lisa Rinna juice brand. Some sort of fancy math curve. A Lisa-jus? Lisa-jus? Is it a French term? Lisa-jus? Lisa-jus? I did look it up. It comes from some French guy. All right, so we're going to stop. I got to bookmark it. Bookmark it. And then now, actually, what I'd like to do. Oh, I just want to. All right. This is from 2 weeks ago. This is Stephen Mirren from 2 weeks ago. Whoop whoop.
Let's bring in the Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Stephen Myron. Good to have you this morning.
Myron. Okay,
Mr.
sorry.
Myron.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Myron. Thanks for having me.
You know, I'd love to get your take in terms of the likelihood at this point of sort of a slowdown, if not a recession. We speak to CEOs all day long, both on air, but more often off air when they're willing to actually share some confidences that they don't want to share publicly. And I certainly would say the last week or so, there's been a lot of concern. Do you think that the change in policy is going to mitigate the impact, perhaps, of a potential recession?
Look, you know, I never really thought that we were credibly heading for any sort of meaningful recession. And you guys yourselves, just a few minutes ago, mentioned Goldman did a pretty quick U-turn on their recession forecast. And I think lots of people have underestimated the fact that President Trump is a pro-growth president. He's a pro-healthy economy president, and he always has been. And so what's happened over the last few weeks is that financial markets are prone to excessive volatility, and that has always been the case. Nevertheless, that volatility itself can have really unfortunate economic knock-on effects, really unfortunate economic side effects. And so what the president and his team have done is to buy time to create very great trade deals that will be very intricate and do enormous things for the American economy and American workers, and to create time to make those trade deals. And we've got dozens and dozens of countries banging down the doors wanting to talk to us, wanting to create those trade deals.
Right. Don't mess with the bond market, perhaps, is one of the lessons that we learned over the last few days. Of course, many of us were aware of that previously. What are your expectations when it comes to these trade deals? You know,
that was a dig.
Trying to understand what is the landscape.
That was a dig. That was a dig. You already have your recession here. Now go and disseminate the knowledge. Here we go.
Really going to look like? Are American consumers and companies and everybody else importing say, all right, it's going to be a 10% across the board tariff. That's what we're going to live with, and basically nothing coming from China? Or do you think things are going to change dramatically over these next 90 days?
Look, the president has been pretty clear that what he wants is for other countries to remove their non-tariff barriers and their tariffs that prevent American exports from being as competitive. And so what I think we want is a situation in which American exports can go to the rest of the world, and we can trade more with the rest of the world. And it'll be great for lowering the trade deficit. It'll be great for the American economy. It'll be great for American workers, and that's what we want. But you mentioned the bond market, and I think it's also important to understand that the bond market should be further, further happy that the inflation data came in so positively today. I mean, so tepidly today. The core inflation print, which is inflation, stripping out volatile things like food and energy, that core inflation print on an annual basis was the lowest core inflation print since March of 2021. So
yeah, well, that's not the one that matters, bitch.
At keeping inflation at bay, keeping inflation down, and between that and what's going on with trade, America is back.
Well, America never really left, sir. It's Jim Cramer. I know that the CPI was good today.
Is he still alive?
We know that there is a bump in prices coming. Notice I did not call it a tax because I'm not going to get into politics with you. But there is a bump in prices. We all know that. Won't that extend to the CPI just logically, empirically, and
Consumer
rigorously?
Price Index.
Look, today's CPI report wasn't just good; it was really great. So if you look at
I'm
some
talking
items
about the
on
future.
it, yeah.
I love this number. This number was better than you think. I want to talk about the next number.
No, that's fine. I'll get to that in 1 second. I just want to say one thing about this number, which is that it's so good that if you look at prescription drug prices, they fell 2% in March. That's the biggest decline on record. Now, so this was not just a good number; it was a fantastic number. But if you want to talk about the future, we talk about the future too. And I think that it's important to understand that the cost of the tariffs is ultimately borne by countries that we're tariffing, and that's because we can reallocate our demand across borders, whereas countries that have factories sitting there, they can't move those factories. And so that means that the cost of the tariffs are borne by countries that we're tariffing. And so in the short run, can there be bumps? Can there be volatility? We saw the volatility in financial markets. That's absolutely the case. Can there be volatility in other prices too? Sure. But in the fullness of time, American consumers have the ability to shift their demand patterns across borders, whether that means bringing demand home to home producers, or whether it means shifting demand from countries that treat us really poorly to countries that treat us really well. And the president's trade policy will accelerate that. And so the fact that we're flexible means that we'll avoid avoid bearing the burden of the tariffs, and the countries that we're tariffing will bear that burden.
Well, let's talk about building a factory. Eli Lilly built the fastest factory I've ever seen. It's a North Carolina factory in Concord. It was supposed to take about 5 years typically. They did do it in 2.5 years, but they're a pretty well-run company. 2.5 years is record time, sir. What are we supposed to do in the interim?
What we're supposed to do is accelerate the deregulation process. And as I said before, the president has always been a pro-growth economy and the president's a pro-growth president. And he's determined to create a healthy economy and the strongest economy we've ever seen. So what we have to do is we have to get the regulations out of the way so that people can build those factories faster. It shouldn't take years to do environmental reviews before you build a factory.
Shelter was at 4%.
You should be able to break ground. And so
TPI
what we need to
growth.
do is to create a situation in which firms can really build those factories much faster.
Core
Coupling
inflation.
the deregulatory agenda with the president's approach on trade is exactly how we get to the new golden age.
Welcome, everyone, to...
Okay, so that's the guy. That's the guy. This, I think, is another...
Let's bring in the council.
Shush, 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 shh, shh. All right. Let me see if I have.
Welcome, everyone, to...
Go
Let's bring in
away.
the Council of Economic
Go
Advisors
away.
Chairman, Stephen Myron. Good to have you
Stephen
this morning.
Myron. Myron. Okay, I think I have one more. Hold on. I can't remember. Oh, wait. I didn't watch that. I have a bunch of shit I don't want us to watch. This is, I don't really think I'll watch that later. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hold on. Let me just make sure my watch later. Watch later. Watch later. Oh, there's a NATO Youth Summit happening right now. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not going to watch it, but it is kind of interesting. Oh, I wanted to watch this, because I hadn't yet. It's off topic, but importante. I like watching international news talking about the tariffs. They say stuff like, what the fuck is America doing and why are they so dumb? It's true. Okay, this is off top. Well, actually, maybe I should keep on topic, but I don't know. Where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that now? Hold on. Let me just, because I know I have a lot of articles too. See? Boy, there's just so much to talk about. There's so much I want to tell you. There's so many things I want to read to you. Okay, yeah, I actually want to read one thing to you. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Nope, I know what I'm going to do. Get out of here. Get out of here, duck. Okay. This is what I want to end us with for Fucked Financial Fridays for this episode. We're going to have to keep going, you guys. It's going to be, oh my God. It's just going to be a constant. We didn't even get into like tariff headlines or anything, which we will. I guess right now we're still in our holding pattern when it comes to tariffs. When you elect a criminal who's gone bankrupt so many times, it seems inevitable that this would happen. Hungry fox, come check out my chicken coop. I mean, he really, they, I've got all day. Let's do this. No, you guys, I've already probably driven your brains into mush. I basically only watch the Parliament EU Commission news now because it's what we used to sound like before democracy was captured. You're right. Yeah, there's so many legislatures around the world who have got this. Oh, there's so much more, Neil. Oh my God, there's so much more. But for right now, what I'm going to do is read you this. And then I think that's what we're going to end on. Thanks for assuming my brain was a more solid consistency before this. You're welcome. Of course. Of course. Okay, well, this is from 2 days ago, April 23rd, in CBS reporting. Walmart Target CEOs privately warned Trump tariffs could lead to empty shelves soon. Trying to kill me with these what is that, a diphthong? Is that a diphthong? Shh. Is that SH? Are those diphthongs? Those get me every time. Every time. Every time. Okay. Let's find out what the real motherfuckers think. The chief executives of Walmart and Target privately warned President Trump this week that his sweeping tariff policy could disrupt supply chains and lead to empty shelves in the coming weeks, sources familiar with the White House meeting told CBS News. The CEO of Home Depot, also a asshole, by the way, was also present at Monday's closed-door meeting. And in fact, the Home Depot guy's a huge donor. Oh, here's my donor I was wondering about. Anita, are you here? Did I miss you? Oh my gosh. Anita, I can't see you. Why can't I see you? Why can't I see you? Can't I see you? Did I miss you? Oh, there you are, darling. Okay, now I see you. Hi, Anita. How are you? Good to see you. So the CEO of Home Depot is a real big donor to the Republican or to Trump. So it's very interesting that that's, I was just saying at the beginning of the show, I wonder why no donors kind of intervene and go, hey, yeah, this was a great idea, but not this much. You know what I mean? So Target and Walmart declined to comment on the specific warnings. Oh, Axios was first to report on the retail executives' warnings to Mr. Trump. Following their meeting with Mr. Dump on Monday, both companies did issue statements. We had a productive meeting with Dump and his team and appreciated the opportunity to share our insights, Walmart said in a statement. Target, in a similar statement, said, we had a productive meeting with President Dump and our retail peers to discuss the path forward on trade, and we remain committed to delivering value for American consumers, all while raising your prices. Raising your prices. We're coming up to we're past the 3-hour mark. The two retailers have publicly warned that Trump's tariffs could lead to higher prices weeks after Mr. Dump's win. Walmart CFO John David Rainey told CNBC, we never want to raise prices, but there probably will be cases where prices will go up for consumers. Oh, so genteel, aren't they? Important action item. Oh, yes, need to call your congresspeople. Oh, let's go to that website. The consumer will likely see price increases over the next couple of days from tariffs planned on imports from Mexico, noting Target heavily relies on Mexican produce to stock its grocery shelves in the winter. The Dump administration has imposed 145% tariffs on Chinese goods and 10% tariffs on most other countries. But when were these? Okay, wait. So are we under 145% with China right now? I'm very unclear on this. I'm so unclear. 10% tariffs on most other countries, whatever. Dump also announced steep reciprocal tariffs on dozens of other U.S. trading partners earlier this month, but paused most of the non-China levies for 90 days. So that means it is 145%. The import duties have rattled markets in recent weeks and prompted fears about rising consumer prices, slower economic growth, and supply chain shortfalls. The Trump administration has considered forming a working group to handle any strains on supply chains caused by the China tariff, CBS News reported last week. Mr. Dump has stood by his tariff strategy, casting it as a way to boost U.S. manufacturing and stymie what he views as unfair trade practices, but he has indicated he would like to negotiate new trade deals with other countries. The president told reporters Tuesday he expects the 145% China tariffs to, quote, come down substantially, but it won't be zero. But it won't be zero. It's gonna be less than zero. Let's see. Just want to check the Axios story. Mark Caputo, the Axios guy. All right. Dump got a scare from CEOs and markets on Monday. On Tuesday, he blunted some of his sharpest threats, signaling a softer stance on China and retreating from fiery rhetoric targeting the Fed. The CEOs of 3 of the nation's biggest retailers, Walmart, Target, privately warned him that his tariff and trade policy could disrupt supply chains, which is the design, right? Oh, J-Rounds, anywhere from 45% to 245%, depending on what the goods are. The big box CEOs flat out told him, dump, the prices aren't going up. They're steady right now, but they will go up. And this wasn't about food, but he was told that shelves will be empty. An administration official familiar with the meeting told Axios. Another official briefed on the meeting said that CEOs told Trump disruptions could become noticeable in 2 weeks. Oh, the same time as the medical plan. Yeah, Mark Caputo is a dog shit reporter. While that was happening, financial markets were slumping. Stocks, bonds, the dollar, as investors panicked about Trump's latest threats to oust Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he said, no, I won't. But he'll do whatever he wants. I mean, that's the point. Nothing anybody says matters. Tariff sheriff in the house. Hey, Paul, how are you? Tariff sheriff in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. All right, great. Let's do this. Let's end on a really positive note for this morning. Oops, whoops. Never mind. This is not the positive note I thought. Oh my God. The positive note we're going to end on is the call to action that you can make a difference. You can contact your senators and your representatives and you can say, fight for this. Fight for us. Fight for everyone. Fight for the people who are scared. Fight for the people who are being kidnapped. Fight for the people who are losing services. Fight for the people who are scared they're going to lose services. Fight for the people who think they'll never buy a home. Fight for them. Tell your representatives. And we'll go, after this, we will go to a website where you can find your representatives and stuff like that. So hold on. Half of the Bondi is greater than the whole. Pam friggin' Bondi. The overposter is also here. This the chat spammer. Yes, Paul, we read about that. Well, I think she was actually just doing her job. My rep is useless. A car dealer in a safe seat. God, that just is so angering to me when that happens. Ooh, she's looking a little rough. Oh, girl. What's wrong? You're looking a little rough. Ouch. Chat spammer. No, Paul, I once called him a chat spammer when he was doing the same message over again because he was so upset about something. So it's a joke. Crime victims group stripped of federal grant awards by Trump administration. All right. Annoying. A number of nonprofit and safety victims organizations, nonprofit safety and victims organizations tell CBS News they are being stripped of federal grant funding by the Department of Justice. One of the organizations, the National Center for Victims of Crime, said it will have to shutter its hotline service for crime victims as early as Friday due to the funding reduction. And that's real. That's really real. That's real. Yeah. CBS News has obtained a copy of a memo sent Tuesday by the DOJ's Office of Justice Programs to some nonprofit organizations. The memo alerts the groups that their federal grant awards are being, quote, terminated because the funding, quote, no longer effectuates the program goals or agency priorities. Among the organizations who have been stripped of their federal funding is a major Maryland criminal victims organization, which provides healing services for major city violent crime victims. The organization requested its name not be revealed by CBS News to avoid retribution. In an internal memo obtained by CBS News, the organization's leader wrote, quote, "We are not the only organization impacted. Funding cuts and cancellations were also announced to approximately 55 other violence prevention, victim advocacy, and substance abuse programs nationwide." Another impacted organization is the Youth Alive nonprofit in Oakland, California, which has helped young people who have suffered from violent crime. I know that organization. They're very good. The organization, founded in 1991, touts its work supporting gunshot victims, including at hospital bedsides. Executive Director Joseph Griffin told CBS News the loss of funding is a devastating blow. Quote, "We're not just responding to violence, we're stopping it before it starts, supporting survivors in the aftermath, and walking with families through their deepest pain. When someone is shot in Oakland, we show up. Without this support, survivors will be left alone to languish in hospital beds with no roadmap to recovery. Just pain, fear, and retaliation," Griffin said. Former Department of Justice Civil Rights Division official Stacey Young told CBS News, quote, "This administration can't claim to care about things like supporting crime victims, curbing gun violence, and reducing opioid deaths while slashing grants to entities that do the hard work to achieve these goals." Young is founder of Justice Connection, an organization of Justice Department alumni who've spoken out against some of the Trump administration's overhaul of the agency. The National Center for Victims of Crime said the reduction in federal funding is potentially debilitating to its mission. Quote, "We're shocked that an administration that claims to care about protecting victims would leave so many vulnerable Americans without access to an essential lifeline," said Renee Williams, CEO of the National Center for Victims of Crime. Williams told CBS News the funding reduction could force the shuttering of a crime victims hotline by Friday, April 25th. Williams said the hotline had been used 16,000 times by crime survivors last year. After calling us, quote, "After calling us, countless victims indicated they had nowhere else to turn, but found hope, help, and comfort from our services," she said. The termination of this federal grant has had an immediate impact. Williams added, quote, "The Justice Department also canceled a grant through which the National Center for Victims of Crime is building peer support group programs for crime victims at 10 sites across the country, as well as a grant through which our team creates educational content for National Crime Victims' Rights Week." The DOJ did not respond. Attorney General Pam Hold My Bribe Bondi, a former state attorney general in Florida who took a bribe from Donald Trump, touted other grant cuts in a social media post on Wednesday evening. Quote, "The Department of Justice has started cutting millions of dollars in wasteful grants." Yeah, she just called crime victims wasteful. She listed 3 examples. $2 million for a national listening sessions of individuals with lived experience. That would be important depending on the topic. That's called first-person data. That's called getting data from on the ground. It's really important. This is something different. That was the National Crime Victims Hotline that we're talking about, not the 988, Peace Love. Not the 988. But there are some changes, I believe, coming to the 988 that we need to be aware of. I can look for that. Okay, $695,000 for a parallel convergent mixed methods case study research design to assess the efficacy of police departments' LGBTQ liaison services. Does she just not understand what that means? Because I understand what that means. That's actually a very well-stated statement of what the research and the funding intends to assess. And it's going to judge whether or not whatever changes have been made in police departments' liaison services to the LGBTQ community, whatever the changes have been in that regard, whether or not they've been effective. That's what efficacy means. Whether or not it's been effective. It's called evaluating whether or not it's worth continuing to do, or where it's failing, or in where it's succeeding. My God, that's so dumb. When you do liaison services into any community, you're only improving the relationships in those communities. I mean, we should get rid of police and replace them with social workers, but barring that, it is imperative to have some kind of connection between the police and the communities. Oh my God. And $250,000 for working with incarcerated transgender individuals, providing gender affirming care to include housing in gender appropriate facilities. That's actually that's human. That's called being a human. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing. You're supporting people's health and well-being and keeping them relatively safe. Come on now. The memo distributed to some victims' organizations specifies that any further expenses will not be reimbursed by the Justice Department and federal agencies after receipt of the memo. The use of award funds. Okay, wait a minute. This is wrong. Okay, wait a fucking minute. The use of award funds will not be allowed for obligations incurred or expenditures made after receipt of this notice other than pursuant to closeout responsibilities. So it is an immediate stop of activity. That's why it's an immediate stop to activity. You can't pay. Nonprofits don't have a year of operating. If a nonprofit has a year of operating expenses in their coffers, that's a very incredible nonprofit. Usually, they have a month to 6 months operating money. Well, I would imagine 988 could go to oh, come on. What the hell? AI or something stupid. It's pretty horrible. The memo, okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's that. Blech, blech, blech. Let me just get rid of that for a second so you don't have to look at it. I do want to just follow up on the 988, which is the national hotline. Because I thought there was a news story, but I want to check it before I realize whatever's happening here. Yes, this is unfortunately. Oh, the Congress, call Congress. Yeah. Anyway, please share that. And the Congress, yes. Eugenics. Yeah. Okay. This is what is around the 988. This is slightly different. This is from CNN about 5 hours ago. This was today. 988 suicide prevention service for LGBTQ plus youth would be eliminated under leaked budget proposal. Now, again, a leaked budget proposal. Hopefully they back down from this I don't know, but this is reporting by CNN. The Dump administration is considering eliminating the 988 suicide prevention and crisis lifeline specialized services for LGBTQ youth as a way to cut back on funding for next year's discretionary budget for mental health, according to an internal document reviewed by CNN. The preliminary memo dated April 10th previews the administration's possible plans to slash discretionary funding, federal health spending, and rework health agencies as Donald Dump and his secretary, Robert Bear Eater Kennedy Jr., consolidate many functions of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services into the Administration for a Healthy America. What the fuck's that? What's the Administration for a Healthy America? What? If the leaked budget draft is enacted, yeah. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifelines LGBTQ Youth Plus Youth Specialized Services could be defunded beginning in October, which is the start of our fiscal year in this country, when things begin. When the old budget runs out, new budget comes in. According to the nonprofit The Trevor Project, a suicide prevention organization for LGBTQ plus youth that has been a subcontractor and done amazing work, by the way, to the specialized service since 2022, serving as one of 7 call centers within the subnetwork that provides specialized services for LGBTQ plus youth. The OMB didn't respond to CNN's request for comment because there's nothing they can say that isn't going to get them a seat in hell. The AHA is the new HHS office. It's the wait on me. Wait on me. Wait, what is it? Let me go. Wait on me. I'll be so if you will. Sorry. Okay. Soon after its launch, the 988. Oh, excuse me. In October 2020, Trump signed a bipartisan bill making 988 the universal telephone number to reach the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. In July 2022, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline launched under the Biden administration, transitioning what was a 10-digit number to an easier to remember 3-digit number. People seeking emotional and mental health support can dial 988 for help in the same way they might dial 911 for medical emergencies. Soon after its launch, 988 Lifeline included a subnetwork for LGBTQ plus individuals to connect with specialized services. Now, when people dial 988, they are given the option to press 3 to reach crisis counselors trained to work with LGBTQ plus youth. There have been some discussions within the Trump administration around ending the 988 Lifeline's LGBTQ plus subnetwork, according to a person in HHS or AHA, who has worked closely with the 988 Lifeline team and who asked for anonymity because they were recently given a reduction in force notice but hope to keep their job. Quote, from what I gathered and just talking to others, these decisions are made without input from anyone involved with the 988 team or project, the source said, adding that if the leadership on the 988 team was consulted, they probably would recommend against removing the LGBTQ plus subnetwork. Suicide rates are 4 times higher among LGBTQ youth than others, the person said. There is data to show that rates of suicide among the LGBTQ community are higher, which is why there is a dedicated number to press if you are from that community, because there is such a critical need. As of mid-March, more than 14.5 million people have called, texted, or sent chats to the 988 Lifeline and have been transferred to a crisis contact center since July 2022, according to data from the U.S. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. About 1.2 million of those were routed to the LGBTQ plus specialized services. Quote, suicide prevention is about risk, not identity. Ending the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifelines LGBTQ plus youth specialized services will not just strip away access from millions of LGBTQ plus kids and teens. It will put their lives at risk, James Black, CEO of the Trevor Project, said in a news release. These programs were implemented to address a proven, unprecedented, and ongoing mental health crisis among our nation's young people with strong bipartisan support in Congress and signed into law by President Trump himself, he said. We urge the administration to maintain its long-standing commitment to ending suicide among high-risk populations, especially our nation's young people. Miriam Delphin-Rittman, who served as HHS's Assistant Secretary for Mental Health and Substance Abuse in the Biden administration, said she worries about how the agency's restructuring may affect 988 as a public health resource, as well as other services and programs that fall under the substance abuse or under SAMHSA. There has been some discussion and questions about whether the LGBTQ plus line will remain, and so I'm concerned about that part of 988, she said. She's also concerned about the 988 Veterans subline, which is accessed by dialing 988 and pressing 1, and the Spanish subnetwork, which is accessed by dialing 988 and pressing 2. Since 2022, the federal government has invested some $1.5 billion in the 988 project, including expanding access to services for Spanish speakers, LGBTQI plus youth, and young adults, and people who are deaf or hard of hearing by creating sub-lifelines or subnetworks for these groups. Delphin-Rittman said she worries about how certain staffing and funding support for 988 could shift or be eliminated under the HHS restructuring. I recall so many SAMHSA grants as federal grant opportunities for, like, when I was in education and youth development and other things. SAMHSA was a huge source of grants from federal funding. Very difficult to get. Usually the large projects got them and then subcontracted out to smaller nonprofits for whatever piece they needed. The leaked memo notes that the budget would maintain the $10 million for specialized services for Spanish speakers seeking access to 988 services and eliminate the set aside for specialized services for LGBTQ plus youth. According to the document, the budget does not include funding for the LGB Center of Excellence, the African American Behavioral Health Center of Excellence, the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Behavioral Health Center of Excellence, the Hispanic Latino Behavioral Health Center of Excellence, and the LGBTQ Youth Family Support Program. I'm concerned about SAMHSA overall. Delphin Rittman said, certainly there have been a lot of questions. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. And then the last thing I want to do, I promise I won't keep you any longer. So that's that. So that when you contact your reps, you have a couple of links that you can include in your communicazione. But let me find how to reach your congressman. I know I could probably just like guess, but I don't wanna. I wanna call everybody. I wanna call everybody. I like Ballotpedia, or no, what is it? Voterissue.org. I guess it could be Congress. Okay, here we go. Here we go, and here we go. This is from congress.gov. Gov to contact your... Oh, thanks, gal. Well, here's all the ways. You can find it from Ballotopedia, all that kind of stuff. A tarot reader who just foresaw the Pope's passing around Easter sees Trump's passing by the day we get a new Pope or the day after. Another said by May 17th. Whoop, whoop. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Popes die. Presidents too. All right, here we go. Other links. Gal has dropped the phone number, 202-224-3121. That is the congressional switchboard, I guess. They will direct you to your rep, or you can share. I believe they take feedback on that. I could be wrong. But you can click my link, find more information about your members of Congress. Or, Gal says, 5, that's the number 5, calls, CALLS.org, 5calls.org. So that's another one. Use the clips, use the links that we shared today about both the LGBTQ youth funding, SAMHSA grants, how important those are across this country. Yeah, that's excess signal number. So only white people are the only ones that can. I'm going against everything. Yeah, it's terrible. No, they don't. They don't care. They don't care. Not 5 call. Oh, wait, you did say that. But the anti-Christian bias hotline is up. Oh, wait. Yes, of course they do. Cool link coming. Uh-oh. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, my God. What's going on? Real-time fascism? What the F? What is this? What's this? What the heck? Critical. All-time threat. Oh, my gosh. The news makes me so sad and sick. And nowadays I want to break something. Peace, love. I totally understand. That's why I can't have these go on longer than 4 hours. Otherwise, your guys, anyone who can stay that long, first of all, thank you. Number 2, I'm sorry. Oh, so this is interesting. Oh my God. So here's what it does, you guys. This is really cool. So you pick a point on the timeline. Okay, so the timeline is down here, January 6th through today. And you pick a point, and look, it gives you all the news headlines and articles that relate to that measurement, I guess. Isn't that cool? I have learned how to make lunch while listening to the lounge. That's pretty badass. Oh, I'm keeping that one. That's going in right in the sources. Right with the horses and the sarses. Okay, that's fantastic. The 14 characteristics of fascism. Powerful and continuing nationalism. 4 recent articles. This is so cool. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. Identification of enemies and scapegoats as a unifying cause. This is very good. Supremacy of the military. Thanks, Scott. Scott, it's so good to see you. Rampant sexism, controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government are intertwined, corporate power is protected, labor power is suppressed, disdain for intellectuals and the arts, wow, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, and fraudulent elections. I am very impressed. Who is all these people? Yeah. Who is this? Who is this? What is this? All right. Well, it says. Oh wait, it says. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Can you clip again? No. Okay. And it doesn't stay. I can't read it. Boo. And then it shows the bias. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. This is so media literacy. Yeah. Left, center, right, right. Oh, this is so interesting. Very interesting. Really cool, gal. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this website. Oh boy. This is going to be good for Wake and Bake. Yeah. Yeah, Jane, instead of breaking things, I throw pillows. That's a good idea. Peace, love. I don't know. Don't let the turkeys get you down. We're going to get through this. I don't know how. And right now people are hurting. And, I can't, people are hurting and we need to help the people who are hurting. So I guess that's also a reason to kind of hang in there, because you want to kind of make sure you're strong enough to help do what you need to do and just take care of yourself. I don't know. That's why we have media literacy here. Boo, 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 boo. Yes, share that with your friends and family. I think I'll go ahead and share that with my family. I think they might find that really interesting. Boy, thank you so much. Oh my God. Fucked Financial Fridays was certainly fucked, wasn't it? It certainly was. Tonight we are having 2 movies. I haven't figured them out yet. I think I know the Max one. Max, I think we decided on one movie, right? I can't remember. Oh, Dracula's Daughter. No, Count Dracula's Daughter, I think is what we're doing it. Is that what we're doing? I don't know what I said. It lets people explore the threat for themselves. Yeah, and it's got some decent, it's got a good compilation of good articles. I think that's really, really great. Yeah, fuck Financial Fridays delivered again. No, I hope I didn't confuse you all more. Thank you so much for allowing me to kind of navigate this stuff alongside you and not, I'm not an expert. I really am trying to learn, and I hope, yeah, that's the one. Countess Dracula. That's the one. Did we already watch that? We didn't already watch that, did we? Because that's the one I think I was thinking of. Maybe. Yes. Oh, Anita, thank you. So I just really appreciate your patience and certainly I so appreciate you even being here and listening in or watching or contributing in chat, however you're part of the show. Thank you so much for doing that. I just this is fun for me to learn and try and navigate my way. Yeah, reserve breaking. There'll be a time to break things. It does feel good sometimes to throw something on the ground. I give you shit, but I'm grateful for your research and explanations. Oh my God, they're so lame, but thank you. Again, I'm not. I wish I was a little more able to distill this in a way that is really meaningful, but I think we're getting there. I mean, I think we're learning some stuff. That's really it. And you know what? It's not college, okay? It has his excellent historically accurate costuming, and who doesn't love Ingrid Pitt? Exactly. Perfect. So definitely Countess Dracula tonight as our second feature. But our first feature, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be something good. So watch for that. But there are 2 movies tonight on Discord. Yeah, it's almost college, but hopefully more fun. I don't know. I don't remember a lot of college. Anyway. Thanks again. I really appreciate you all, and I appreciate the journey. Well, I don't know about that. Actually, the journey's kind of fucked up, but here we are, and we're together, and that's all that matters. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Love you guys.